Up and at 'em, kids. It's a Thursday morning, June the 20th. June the 20th, as we roll our way through summertime, coming off of, for me personally, a 2-day vacation where I continue to enjoy, as Preston said, the prime weeks of the summer.
Biggest weeks of the summer right here. This is summertime. This is summertime, especially for my teachers out there. Hopefully you're not listening to this and you're sleeping right now. But if you are up, you know you just got out of the classroom. You need about a week to get all the germs and the funk from them kids off of you. Then you need a week to recover, and now you finally entered primetime teacher summer. So here we are.
There we are. We continue our countdowns. We'll get to those in just a second because that was a big topic around the Gunner household yesterday, Preston Thorne. Your best... We're not gamers, right? You and I were gamers 20 years ago in a different level of gaming.
I played video games. I don't think I've ever considered myself a gamer, just for the fact that I wasn't very good. But I did play video games.
Now, hold on. When you say you weren't very good, did you hold your own?
Nah.
You were constantly destroyed
I was in the, like AAU tournaments?
Yes.
I was in the other gym. I was always in the always in the alt gym. The one that they found John Moran in, that's the gym that I usually was in playing and not being very good. There was primetime rooms, never made it to the big
We'll get into
rooms.
that a little bit this morning because my son, Austin, and I were having a discussion yesterday about the upcoming NCAA game. Now, I don't know.
27 days.
Well, hold on. I had a revelation yesterday. Mm-hmm. I don't know what it meant. And I don't know if he got confused. I tried to get clarity, and I couldn't quite get clarity because talking to a 12-year-old, sometimes you don't get the clarity you need.
I can get that.
But it was something to the effect of the game starts downloading on the 13th. And I was trying to get clarity of well, wait a minute. And he's like, no, we can't play the game till the 16th. But on the 13th, the game will start downloading.
Okay.
And I was like, well, how big is this game? And he's like, and of course, then I got into questions. But this led us to, if you've had a video game, this is going to be kind of a geeky discussion, your best video game moments. Like if you were playing somebody and you hit a Hail Mary.
Gotcha.
Or you had somebody run around and just throw a long pass. Do you have one of those that you ever?
See, that's what I'm saying. That's why I'm not a gamer.
But you had to have a moment.
I have to go through and think about that.
See, yeah, think about it. Think about it, because I've got 3. One of them is just me being a jerk. It's me being me, where I was playing a buddy of mine, who will remain nameless, but I was playing a buddy of mine, and because I had learned that Tennessee, at this point, this was a point in my life where I learned where Tennessee plays Rocky Top for everything. Like, first down, dun, 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 dun.
Underrated song.
Yeah. So next to me, I had, you'll love this, Napster.
Yeah. Solid.
And basically anything that happened in the game that was a positive for me, I would turn and hit the Napster button.
Had props.
Okay. It wasn't even coming through the game. It was me doing it. But I did have, at that moment, I had another moment where I came back from 24 down and beat a buddy of mine.
How was he still playing? I thought it was 21 sticks.
No.
Y'all kept playing.
24. Yeah, wasn't halftime.
Wow.
Came back from 24 down, and he ended up chasing me around the house because I ran my mouth way too much.
Yeah.
And then I had a score in the final play where from 80 yards out, it was a running play.
Okay.
Not a pass. I had a running play that went for 80 yards to win a game. So we'll get into that a little bit this morning. I want to get back into your Nick Harbor discussion that y'all had on Tuesday. This is, I'm skeptical. Call me skeptical. I don't know what to expect from Nick Harbor, and I still think that South Carolina fans' expectations on that. I don't know what y'all I know you discussed it. I don't know your stance on that.
Well, we didn't get to that part of the discussion. We just really discussed the idea that he's going to be able to focus on football now because the Olympics is over. And my big discussion was, I'm not sure how easy people thought making the Olympics was. I think people were making him a shoo-in for the Olympics.
Right. Yeah,
and I was like, I don't know if that's how that works. You got professionals, you have dudes that are older, you have champions and track champions, all these people. Nick ran his personal best, and his personal best were still not enough to qualify. Doesn't mean he won't have it in the future, but I just thought we were jumping the gun a little bit, thinking that, track metaphor, thinking that he was going to just show up and qualify for the Olympics.
We'll talk about. I want to get into the football aspect of it, just from the standpoint of, okay, I saw people get really excited, like kind of what you were saying, like, oh, now he's completely focused on football, but that was 2 days, 3 days ago, 2 days ago, June 17th, 18th. Well, all right, well, what can you gather from that going into July? Even if he's out there running skeleton drills with Lenore Sellers, and what we can gather from that, because it's kind of the same situation as last year, right? He didn't arrive on campus until late June, and then he was still kind of trying to get up to speed on everything he was trying to do. No offense to, right at this point, no offense to Lenore Sellers, but you had Spencer Rattler, who was a better quarterback, better thrower of the football. What do we really expect from Nick Harbor this year? We'll get into that a little bit, and then I'll take it on another path. We got plenty we're going to get into this morning. It'll be a summer show, I'll promise you that. But we got two interesting kind of father-son duo stories developing. If you followed, we know the first one. A week from today, Preston Thorne, the NBA could be changed dramatically.
Mm-hmm.
The others, so you got that.
Mm-hmm.
And I actually have a theory on what's about to happen.
Okay.
That I'll give to you. I've got a theory on what Bronny James is about to do.
All right.
On the flip side of that, you've got Charlie Woods, son of Tiger Woods, qualifying for his first USGA event. And I bring that up because it feels like Charlie Woods wants to follow in Dad's footsteps. Bronny James does not. And we'll kind of go down a path there of young athletes. We got plenty else we'll get into this morning. 803-404-6100 if you want to get into whatever we're discussing this morning. We'll also talk a little football recruiting. I'll be interested to get Preston's take. South Carolina taking commitments left and right. If you're into this kind of thing, a lot of them, well, they're 3 stars. What does that mean?
It's like a Rorschach test. What does that mean to you? 3 stars? Yes? No? What do you think?
Yeah, we'll get into that this morning. A lot to do. Hopefully, we'll catch up with our buddy Josh Harris as well from Darlington Raceway. But we'll go back. How much did you get into A, the end of the NBA Finals, and B, what is occurring in the NHL Finals?
Okay, NBA Finals. We did talk about that pretty extensively, about how the Boston Celtics, everything that you want from an NBA team, everything we say that we want, but we are hypocrites and we don't want any of it. We say that we want these things. Boston Celtics are like eating your vegetables. We know they're good for us. They're healthy, even green, but I'd rather not.
Okay. One of the reasons I bring this up, Austin, my son again, is we were watching, asked me, Dad, he's asked me a question. I forget how he worded it, but are the Celtics similar, and are they about to go on a similar run to the Spurs? The Spurs were great. San Antonio, Greg Popovich still hanging around, but they were boring, right?
Mm-hmm.
Tony Parker, Manu Ginobili was just the epitome of, and Tim Duncan, they were all just square up, 2 hands on the ball, use the backboard.
Mm-hmm.
They were great, but they were boring.
Mm-hmm.
Is that the Celtics?
Oh, for sure.
Like there's nothing there for us to enjoy.
Yeah, I mean we made fun pretty extensively of Jason Tatum and his choreographed celebration trying to be Kevin Garnett.
No, I was told it was Kobe.
Oh well, when he did the anything, what did he say? We did it. We did it. He's trying to do the Kevin Garnett, anything's possible. It didn't quite work with that. Then he tried to do the Kobe shower picture. He tried that. Tried to do a line from Kanye. He was just trying to find his way around the celebration. I don't think he had practiced that one as much as he thought he. But it came off essentially just like his game. Very good, but pretty blasé. Then you have Jaylen Brown. Everything I hear about him, all-world guy, Cal, smart, chess player. And it's like, all right, cool. Missoula, he's giving weird answers everywhere. I don't know what's up with this guy. So it's like, yeah, but the point, yes. To Austin's point, yes, they have it set up, everybody on contract. They could possibly go for a very substantial run here. And Mike Guva might be the only person who's excited about that.
And people in Boston. That's it. Just people in that. By the way, did you see the stat on Missoula and Kyrie Irving?
Yeah, I did.
They were both in the same NBA draft.
Same. Well, here's the thing. That's shocking, but also it's words work because they said they were in the same draft class,
Well,
which we know where Kyrie was drafted.
right. They were in the same. That's why I said the draft. They were in the draft at the same.
Let me do some research to see who I was in the draft class of 2004 NFL draft.
You
Let's
research that.
We'll check this out.
We'll
Preston Thorne and Eli Manning, same draft
class. Yeah.
Yeah, listen, a lot of guys. I'm gonna just find some Kevin Rivers. Hey, Phillip Rivers, draft class. Me and my classmate, NFL draft class. So yes, Joe Mazzulla was in Kyrie's draft class the same way Preston was in Phillip Rivers' draft class, or maybe Vince Wilfork. Maybe we were Vince Wilfork and Preston Thorne, same draft class. That's amazing.
There you go. We'll get into several things. Your best video game moment. I like this. Two of y'all weighing in. You get the show. 21 consecutive wins on Mortal Kombat at a university math camp. 21.
That's a
21 consecutive wins.
That's a rich sentence. For that texter, we need a couple more details. Who are you using? Who was your fighter of choice?
And Grizz weighs in. Best video game moment came when I figured out the sequence to clear the Pac-Man screen. Yes, that's where my video game experience ended. There you go. Thank you for weighing in that. We got a couple on Nick Harbor. We'll get into that a little bit. I want to get into that with you a little bit on Nick Harbor because there is a question of what we should expect from Nick Harbor. This 5-star wide receiver, and wide receiver is a huge question. We'll get into that a little bit this morning. We'll get into some football recruiting as well this hour. You're listening to Preston Thorne, Bill Gunner, producer Ed Bird filling in, Jen Jensen out. She is at a wedding that she seemed thrilled to be at when we last left her. You're listening to the early game. Bill Gunner for Mid-State Roofing. For nearly 30 years, they've been the proven leader in the roofing and waterproofing industry. It is their proven history that is your assurance that their professionals will provide proper advice, service, and results to the needs of your facility. And that's important because, let's be honest, how many of us are walking around knowing exactly what we need to do with our roof, especially with these summer thunderstorms ahead of us, whether it's heavy winds, strong rain, or even that hail that comes along. We need professionals. We need experts, and that's exactly who Mid-State Roofing is. So from high-rises to hospitals, manufacturing to industrial, Mid-State Roofing designs and installs bonded systems with a protective guarantee that'll keep your operation dry and running long into the future. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, Mid-State Roofing is there to help you. Give them a phone call for a maintenance contract, 803-356-1919. If you've got a leak, let Mid-State Roofing take a peek. 6:17, so we're good right now. Just one incident to report. I-77 northbound at Saxagatha Road. That's the only incident. So if you're heading up northbound on I-77, just be advised there is an accident at Saxagatha Road. Weather today, sunny. High of 92, low tonight 63. Sunshine tomorrow with a high of 93, and hot weather is on the way. Be prepared for that. Mid-90s rolling through the weekend and into next week where it gets exceptionally hot. You're listening to Preston Thorne, Bill Gunner, producer Ed Bird. You're listening to The Early Game on 107.5 The Game. 6:19 as we roll along on your Thursday morning. Preston Thorne, Bill Gunner here. Jen Jensen out. Producer Ed Bird stepping in for her to handle responsibilities behind the glass. And responsibilities. Well, Mike Furry has got to handle responsibilities of wide receivers, Preston Thorne, and one of the responsibilities is Nick Harbor. And it's fascinating because we learned, all right, didn't make the Olympics.
Didn't go to the Olympics.
Didn't go to the Olympics.
He didn't go to the Olympic trial. So I think there's a little bit of a distinction in that. But
let me ask this. Did he look around and realize?
Oh, yeah. Yes, he looked around.
Read the room, if you will.
The great thing about track is, unlike basketball, where you might have a quote-unquote snub or debate on whether people are going to make the team, that's not how track works. All you do in track is you line up, and if my time is faster than yours, I make the team. He looked around, realized that his personal best was not going to make the team, and made a decision.
Very wise. All right.
Yes.
So then, read the room. Nick Harbor read the room, looked around, like, all right. I'm still pretty good. Nick Harbor is not a bad football player, right? Let's be clear about that. But you've played college ball. It's not something you just show up and do.
I don't know if Nick Harbor I don't know if he is the type of football player that can just show up and do it, or the type of athlete that can say that and do that. Because he is an athlete in the sense of, yes, he runs fast, yes, he jumps high, and all of those things. I don't know what his sense of coordination is as far as being an athlete, and I wonder if he's going to have to train his skills enough in order to be ready to participate in football. Some dudes are just athletes, and they can get out on the field and do whatever. I don't know if he's that type of athlete.
I was looking real quick. Austin spent a lot of time with my son the last 2 days. He was telling me that, and I say this because if you want to check something out, what's coming up is this, that I'm going to go back to discussing wide receivers for Sacramento, but they didn't have enough quarterbacks for that Netflix documentary. Did you see that? They couldn't get quarterbacks. Quarterbacks all bailed on that.
Mm-hmm.
So they're doing the Netflix. Last year they did the quarterback or 2 years ago I think they did the quarterback documentary. It had Kirk Cousins and Marcus Mariota and Patrick Mahomes. They have no problem getting the wide receivers, right?
Yeah, sign them up. Easy. Yeah, what? Camera following me around every day, all day. Every receiver would sign up for that.
Devontae Adams,
mm-hmm.
Justin Jefferson,
mm-hmm.
Amon-Ra St. Brown,
mm-hmm.
George Kittle, it's a little tight end action, and Deebo Samuel
mm-hmm.
in it. But you talked about this. Watch that, I think, because it's going to tell you, I think you're going to see the behind-the-scenes stuff of them, but it's also going to tell you playing wide receiver isn't just going out looking pretty, wearing a gold chain, and just running fast. There is nuance to that, and that's what you and I talked about because we get a text in here on the text line, and it says difference with Harbor this year is he was around for spring practice making mental reps and in the meeting rooms. I don't think that's what he needed. He needed the physical reps, and that's from Billy Bob, but he needed the physical reps of learning the nuance of the position with his position coach.
Yeah, mental reps are great. But if mental reps were as good as coaches advertise them, then we would just sit around taking mental reps all day. Because you coaches try, mental reps are just. It's not, coach. If mental reps were just as good as physical reps, then we don't need to be out here running, coach. Let's just take mental reps all day. That's not how it works. Mental reps are great. They're good. They're a substitute better than nothing.
Mental reps is good for, like, say, a Rocket Sanders who's been around.
If you've already if you've already been there, Rocket can stand back there and see what hole he needs to hit, but he still needs to practice. Again, I would contend, and I would tell any coach, and this is where I would call BS. If mental reps were just as quality, then why are we out here running? We don't need to be out here sweating if we could just take mental reps. So no, mental reps are great, not like physical practice.
And that to me is what Nick Harbor missed in the spring. Standing there watching, you and I can go stand and watch, right? We can get the mental reps.
I was taking my mental reps.
At 42, Preston Thorne can go get the mental reps. It doesn't mean you.
That's a good point. Yeah, I was out of practice taking all the mental reps I could take, man. Yeah,
it doesn't mean in August when you start the physical reps that you're ready to do it. And that's my concern with this. And that's why I saw the news and I saw people get fired up. And I know you said you and Tyler kind of talked about it, but y'all also talked about it on a different level. Because to me, it almost feels like we're looking at that wide receiver room, which is a big question. And we're not even discussing Nick Harbor. And I actually think that's a good thing because I don't think we're placing too much hype on him. But then I saw this news come out that he's not going to go to the Olympic trials. And people are like, oh, good, he's fully dedicated to football now. Well, he was fully dedicated last year. He needs as much practice with a coach and in what I will call, and you can kind of respond to this, in physical situations where he's being jammed at the line of scrimmage or he's having to deal with a DB.
Yeah, absolutely.
With the pads on, by the way.
Those are the reps that he needs. He's going to get the offseason reps and the player-led activity reps, but he did miss the spring in the physical aspect, and that's the part of the game that he needs to improve and work on. Also catching the ball in traffic, all of those different types of nuances that are needed for a wide receiver. He needs as much of those as possible. But to the flip side, he would not have been able to focus on football if he was still continuing that Olympic dream. So there is the opportunities for him to do that. And so he's going to have to take advantage of it.
I don't know what it means long term when we say that. You brought up something, you just said the Olympic dream, because the Olympics, after next month, don't occur for another 4 years. Well, technically, his eligibility runs out by that time. It makes me wonder what his focus now becomes for, say, 2 years, just 2 years. His sophomore and junior season, or his junior, even if you circle past this year, his junior and senior season. Does he focus a little bit more on football, knowing that he can circle back to the Olympics in 2 years?
He's going to have to make a choice. I've said this before, and I said it again. He's made a choice now. He's not just going to be able to circle back to – it is the Olympics. People are getting faster, bigger, stronger. So while you're doing this over here, doing your little football thing, there's dudes that are actually out there running 200 meters, 400 meters. So it's not like you can just get back to the Olympics when you want to. So eventually he's going to have to decide, do I want to be an Olympian? And that would mean changing his body frame. That would mean focusing 100% on
probably
track
leaning.
and
I would
field.
assume leaning up just a little bit.
Of course. All of that stuff is going to matter. So he's going to have a choice. He doesn't have to make it now, I don't think. But, the Olympics is not something you can just be like, I'll get to it when I get around to it. That's not how it's going to work for him or anybody for that matter.
803-404-6100 if you want to weigh in on this. We'll get into some recruiting in just a second on the 3 stars. Randall in Walterboro has a question for you, and so does Michael, and we'll get to that in the next segment. But we'll kind of wrap up the wide receiver talk. So what do we expect? What does Preston Thorne, having played college football and knowing better than a lot of us what Nick Harbor has to do, what do you expect from him this year?
Oh, that's a great question, and I don't have an answer for that because I really think he needs to improve on his fundamental pass sketching skills. I saw a couple of balls last year that, though caught, alarmed me as far as him catching the ball, being a catcher of the ball, just being a catcher, which is a big part of being a wide receiver. Newsflash, you can be big, you can be fast, but if you can't catch, you can't play wide receiver.
As I saw somebody write in a recruiting report, he's a receiver that doesn't receive.
Yeah, good luck. It's like a car with no wheels. It's going to be great. It looks good, but no tires. So and maybe that's what he can just. Maybe he get on the 1,000 jugs balls a day or something. I don't know, whatever it is. But I don't know what to expect. So it is going to be it's a mystery to me because last year I think his contribution might have been a little bit overhyped last year for what he did contribute, what people gleamed from his contribution.
I actually think his best. A lot of people talk about the Florida catch, the Florida deep ball. There was a catch, the touchdown catch was actually pretty impressive. It showed that he can catch the football, but I think it also showed what you're talking about. There's a nuance to it. There is a skill to it that we seem to gloss over. That occasionally I can reach out and snag the football. Okay, good. You have hand-eye coordination, but you got to develop. You got to continue to develop that. Not in the backyard level, at the D1 SEC level, which is entirely different.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a difference.
803-404-6100. We'll talk a little recruiting. 3 stars. Well, we got the perfect guy here to discuss that. We'll let
Sounds
Preston,
good. Yeah, that's true. That's good.
we'll let Preston break it down a little bit for you when we come back. You're listening to Preston Thorne, Bill Gunner, producer Ed Bird. It's the early game. Bill Gunner for Corley Pool Solutions. Here we are, June the 20th. And, man, I know a lot of you, as Preston was talking about, are out for the summer. The kids are out for the summer. And if you've got a backyard pool, they want to enjoy it. But if you've got algae in your pool, if it's dirty, well, you're staring at it right now and you don't know what to do, I can tell you what to do. You need to call Corley Pool Solutions today. Get in touch with Tracy Corley, 803-445-8109. Again, that's 803-445-8109. Line up your pool cleaning today. They believe in providing the absolute highest quality swimming pool service at the most affordable price, and that's flat rate pricing to you and your family. So call Corley Pool Solutions today. Get in touch with the pool guru, 803-445-8109. Call Corley Pool Solutions. Tell them Bill Gunner sent you. 6:33, and at least right now, still everything pretty calm, pretty quiet. Just one incident to report, I-77 northbound at Saxagatha Road. So if you're traveling up I-77, just be advised, one incident. Other than that, everything's looking clear. You guys are doing a good job. As far as weather goes, it's going to be warm today. We've hit summertime, as Preston Thorne points out, that time of the year, and today the high is 92. Perfect. Teacher out of school, lay by the pool weather, get up into the 90s today. It'll be up into the 90s tomorrow. It'll be up into the 90s next week. It's going to be warm. Again, a lot going on. You're listening to Bill Gunner, Preston Thorne, producer Ed Bird. It's the early game. Back for a couple days, and then hard to believe, Preston, you just said it. We got next week. And then it is July 4th week. That's developing. I'm seeing a difference. I don't know if it's because we're getting older, but it becomes a week now. And this year, July 4th is actually July 4th, by the way, is 2 weeks from today.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I'm telling you, it's peak summer right now because that's the top of the mountain. And then, especially if you're a coach or if you're a teacher, you start looking at August. We got to go back. Practice is starting. Oh, in services. Oh, brother. Yeah. Or when I was playing, that's the end of summer one. Now you're like, the coaches are really they're actually starting to sniff around a little bit more in summer two. It's like, oh, man, season's actually coming.
July 4th is 2 weeks from now. We are flying through the summer as it just feels like we're flying through 2024 as a whole. But, yeah, we are rolling right along. And one of the things that is occurring is it's camp, and that might be part of tomorrow's discussion, might be part of next week's. Might revisit all your camp stories. Mm-hmm. By the way, we did get an answer. Texter weighed in on the 21 consecutive Mortal Kombat victories at math camp.
Mm-hmm.
Liu Kang.
I was gonna say that. After 21, it's tough because I wonder who was number 22. The person who stepped up and said, "I'm gonna end this now for everybody." Because when a person's dominating the sticks like that, the whole room starts turning against them.
That is true.
It's like you got to get him off of here.
That is true. Were they sitting back, just like studying and kind of but hanging out, relaxing? Like I got him. Mm-hmm. I got him. Just let him get some. That was a text earlier. We talked about your best video game moments, and if you want to weigh in on that, we got our countdowns, by the way. Where do we stand here on college football, on the Southern 500, on video games?
72 days until Old Dominion, 73 days until the Southern 500, 27 days until July 16th, 30 days until July 19th. And we have a special pause in our We've taken two pauses. Earlier this week, we talked documentary Who Killed WCW. Today, instead of album review, we'll be reviewing a monumental moment in music history that happened last night on Amazon Prime.
We're going to get to the recruiting discussion in just a second, but now I'm checking. Wait, there's a documentary Who Killed WCW?
Correct.
Where is this at?
It is on YouTube. I can direct you to it. It's airing on Vice. There's 2 episodes right now. Very entertaining and informative.
I watch that this time of year. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. All right. Well, we might have to revisit. Might have to get a slight. Are you watching it?
Yeah, I watched episode 1. I'm going to watch episod 2 here shortly.
I might ask you for a little bit of breakdown on episode 1. That's not something I'm worried about. Spoilers alert. But all right, 803-404-6100. So South Carolina football recruiting. By the way, there was another welcome home yesterday. A lot of welcome homes. Mm-hmm. Camp season is going on. You're being able to South Carolina doing some evaluating and getting out and learning and finding prospects. But another welcome home. South Carolina's also picked up another linebacker commitment, A.J. Holloway, a 3-star out of Buford, Georgia. I know because I went to Buford, Georgia a long time ago to do some recruiting when I was working with JC and the BigSpur.com. A very prestigious high school in Georgia, very big high school, kind of similar when I saw it to Dorman High School. Beautiful campus, beautiful football facilities, very built on football. And also, by the way, Irmo standout quarterback A.J. Brand set for a Sunday commitment. Another guy that South Carolina, if he wants to play quarterback, is going to go to Virginia Tech. If he wants to play safety, similar to DQ Smith, would come to South Carolina. But I don't know if these are commitments that are exciting the fans because, as you've put out, a lot of 3 stars.
And, we don't do 3 stars. We do 1, 2, 4, 5 because 3 stars don't exist. I would challenge any of you recruiting experts out there to either say, is he a 2 or is he a 4? When you look at him, you have to figure out a 3-star. Why is he a 3-star? What's the thing that's holding him back from being a 4? Or did we boost him up to a 3-star because he's lacking in some potential areas, but he has one specific thing going for him? Or, as it states by textbook definition, a 3-star is a prospect who should develop into a contributor for the team, but may need a couple years to develop in the starter. And if I've never read my bio before on the radio, I just did. Call me Preston Thorne, the 3-star general. Needs some years to develop. He'll start eventually, but he's gonna be here for a while.
So I'll say this, as somebody who did recruiting, both football and basketball, and I'll pull the curtain back on this a little bit. A 3-star is they're good.
Yeah.
They're fine. They're good. A 5-star prospect, both football and basketball, you're like, yes, wow, holy cow. That's 4-star prospect, you're like, yeah, I can, yeah, all right. I can see. They run fast. Oh, they're very big. There was something there, and it might not have even been football related.
Mm-hmm.
I'm dead serious. There was a recruiting guy that I would hang around in football who would look at calves.
Mm-hmm.
That was his thing. He would look at calves.
Yeah, gotta see those skinny ankles, big calves. But here's the thing about calves. What they don't tell you, all you gotta do to have nice calves is be fat when you're young, and then you're gonna have good calves. It's real simple.
You grow into good calves. Well,
yeah, because you'll be fine. That's all you got. All you need for good calves.
Those calves been carrying around a load.
All you need for good calves is just shop in the Husky section. You'll have solid calves.
Well, I had a recruiting guy who we'd go to a camp. He'd just look at the calves. And basically, guy could be falling down over himself.
Yeah, you got it, because that's where, oh, man, this can get real deep. You have to look at the calf to ankle ratio because you can't have a cankle situation going here. Got to have big calf, small ankles.
Tiny ankles,
when
yes.
you see the small ankles, then you're into it.
I'm not going to name the name of that said evaluator, but yes, that was his thing. And in that, he would then say, okay, 4-star, because he's projecting for. Because that's the other thing about recruiting rankings is I did recruiting. I would have more input on basketball. And when you do recruiting rankings, are you projecting for the NFL? Or are you projecting for college?
That's a good question.
Or what exactly are you project? What were we the industry as in and of itself, the recruiting ranking industry on 3 and 24/7 Sports specifically, Scout not involved anymore, and ESPN is a wild situation for those that, again, ESPN basically, I'll never forget, best discussion, Paul Biancardi, who I love, who brought me up in the industry, was like, don't worry about breaking the story. We are ESPN. We own the story. Just get everything right.
It's true.
And I was like, oh, I love this. Then I went to 24/7 Sports where you had to break the story. You had to break. It was totally different. But in terms of recruiting, Biancardi wanted to project for college. That was his thing. He was a college guy. He wasn't worried about it. He wanted to project for the McDonald's All-American game. He wanted to project for college. 24/7 Sports wanted to project outward, and they wanted their number one recruit to be the number one pick in the, so which Davian Clowney and Trevor Lawrence in particular, it was those guys need to be the elite of the. Now, granted, they were elite. It was easy to see, but they wanted to be at the top of the industry so that when we did, say, a 20-year synopsis. Say that for me. Thank you. Much better. That you would say, oh, yeah, those were generational talents. We'll see. We just saw Trevor Lawrence's contract. Very nice. Clowney's been great. Clowney's been great in the NFL.
No, he's been good.
I had this conversation a few weeks ago. If Jadeveon Clowney was a 4-star recruit that went to University of South Carolina, didn't have the hype, but then blew up, you'd be like, wow. I mean, he's had longevity.
It's true.
Over 9 sack seasons. He's been a really good and I'd say great NFL player. But going back to recruiting rankings and going back to what he was supposed to be, he's not lived up to it, right?
Yeah, that's very fair. And I mean,
And he's been a great longevity, everything about him. He's been great.
He's gotten everything that you would want, but for somebody to come on with that amount of hype and be the number one pick, it's very interesting. You said that with Trevor Lawrence. He signed that huge contract. He's been solid as a quarterback, but that's not why you sign the quarterback for number one. You don't sign him for him to be solid. You sign him for him to be generational, bringing championships, etc. And so, yeah, that's an interesting thing. But the 3 stars, it's all about how you look at it. Do you trust this staff enough to evaluate talent? Because there are a lot of guys who are ranked 3 stars for whatever reason, and maybe they're better than that. Or are they just taking 3 stars because that's all they have left? And I think that's an interesting question.
We'll get into that a little bit more in the next hour.
Let's continue that conversation.
We'll get into that. But next up, we will review some
monumental moment in history last night. Monumental moment in history last night.
We'll get into that. 803-404-6100. You're listening to The Early Game. Bill Gunner for the Mortgage Guru, Jacob Crowder with First Palmetto Bank. Jacob is indeed the mortgage guru in this particular market. I know for a fact because I used Jacob not too long ago, just 4 years ago, and he got me a great rate. He helped me find the right program for what I was looking for. And you know what? Things are a little bit different now, but he can do the exact same for you. Give him a phone call and schedule an appointment. Learn about what fits your needs. For example, if you're thinking about building, First Palmetto Bank and Jacob Crowder have a no-nonsense construction loan that will fit your needs. So make that phone call to the Mortgage Guru today, 803-719-1005. Again, that's 803-719-1005, or you can email them the letter J, Crowder at First Palmetto Bank. First Palmetto Bank, locally owned and operated right here in the Midlands. That means they have quick and precise underwriting to fit your needs. So call Jacob Crowder and First Palmetto Bank today. 6:49 on your Thursday morning. Preston Thorne, Bill Gunner. Reminder, we will be out live tomorrow at Liberty on the Lake. Our good friend Brett Lasso, he has got a phenomenal event. The Lake Murray Power Boat Run is what it is, and we'll be hanging out tomorrow, 1602 Marina Road in Irmo. We'll have our friends on from the Big Red Barn. We will have our friends Mary Beth Estes on from Camp Discovery, who's been in studio with us. We'll have, obviously, Brett and Allie. We'll also have Richland County Sheriff Leon Lott, buddy of yours. Good buddy to have.
Shout out to my guy Leon Lott. We'll have some baseball talk. Play some Jerry Butler for the sheriff.
We'll get into that. So we'll be out there tomorrow again, broadcasting live from 6 to 9 a.m. We'll be at Liberty on the Lake, 1602 Marina Road out there. It says Irmo. I think it is Irmo. I know it's closer out to Chapin, but we'll be out there. And Liberty on the Lake will not be open, but we do encourage you, come on by, say hello, hang out. We'll be on the top deck as the boats roll in, and that was quite the experience last year.
Yeah, seeing all of those large, very expensive pieces of machinery was eye-opening for me because let's just say people are doing well with some of those boats.
They're doing well. Mm-hmm. Speaking of doing well.
Oh, yeah. Just speaking of doing well, last night, epilogue, victory lap, the beef, over. Kendrick Lamar, Drake. There was a lot of conversations earlier in the summer. And I could be talking to one person now. I could be talking to nobody right now. But if you missed the Amazon Prime streaming event, Ken and Friends, the Pop-Out, it was one of the most vastly interesting and / amazing concert experiences that I've viewed. For those who don't know, Kendrick Lamar had a concert yesterday, midday, at the Forum in Inglewood, celebrating Juneteenth and basically celebrating the funeral for Drake. It's over. He played the now classic song, They Not Like Us, played it 5 times in a row. People were singing over and over and over again. You had, to make this sports related, Russell Westbrook, Compton native, and DeMar Rosen, which interestingly is a Compton native, also played for the Toronto Raptors. And, you know, Drake's from Toronto. Mm-hmm. They were on stage dancing. It was a magnificent event. And this is where you think about timelines being very split, because there's nothing else on my timeline besides highlights, clips, videos, memes, commentary about this Kendrick Lamar concert that was on last night. I stayed up. I had to watch it, watched every single moment of it. Excellent. Kendrick Lamar we're going to probably talk about Kendrick Lamar at some point during our album countdown. I imagine his debut album, Good Kid, Mad City, will probably somewhere fall in the 20s, I'm imagining. But he cemented himself as maybe, if not one of the absolute Mount Rushmores of rappers last night. Absolutely. Hands down.
Which album had humble DNA? Is that all? Was that Good Kid, Mad City?
No, that was on his third album. That was on his third album. But he did perform that last night. That was part of his set list. He started the set with the diss to Drake. He ended it with the diss to Drake, sandwiched with a couple of in the middle, just straight pure rapping. The performance was amazing. There was pyro, electronics, awesome. 100% will recommend. And it was on Amazon Prime, which I do think is interesting because it's part of streaming networks getting into live events where you are locked in on those live events. And it was on Amazon Prime last night. It started at a decent time, ended at a pretty decent time also. Amazing.
Got about a minute and a half left. So I want to go back to that because the Amazon Prime streamed the concert. Mm-hmm. So that you're right, going back to, we talk about the Super Bowl. Mm-hmm. You talk about what Netflix is doing. Mm-hmm. By the way, I don't know if that was on the countdown for the
Kobayashi
and Joey Chestnut, the end of all beefs, whatever we're calling it. And Amazon Prime. So that means somebody could go back and watch it tonight.
It was live event. I believe it would probably be back up for streaming. So it'll be back up to go back and watch it. It was a long event. The Kendrick part.
Hold on. I just want to come to that because that's interesting because that means it requires production. Obviously, you don't have to have anybody there commentating it. But I want you to think for a second. ESPN's pulling away from even having commentators at live events.
Mm-hmm. No, it was a 100% live event with the pyro, camera to work, direction, all of that. And to finish it off, all of these dudes come out from LA. He brings back, he reunites with his some of his former band members from TD. I'm very niche specific right now. And he brings out, to end it off with California, he brings out Dr. Dre. Dr. Dre intros Not Like Us. The crowd goes crazy. They play the song 5 times in a row, each time getting more and more raucous. There might have been earthquake in LA last night. Amazing performance, monumental performance. Kendrick Lamar, salute to you, sir. Thank you for getting the scourge that is Drake up out of here.
Wow.
Done.
Well, by the way, if you were trying to figure out what side Preston's on, you've now figured it out.
Correct.
Like if there was any question, you've now figured it out.
It was a victory lap for the good guys.
Real quick, what did I miss on Tuesday with the music review? You got the
on Tuesday we did the WCW. We did the WCW, and we will have a Steely Dan preview coming up soon.
Okay, coming up soon. We'll definitely get into that. A lot going on. We'll get into hour number 2. We'll get back into that recruiting discussion, a little Braves talk as well. They win yesterday, 7-0. We'll talk a lot about we'll get back into the recruiting, though, the 3-star discussion. I'm trying to pull up some numbers on this Jadeveon Clowney thing because I think that's actually a wildly interesting kind of discussion. We'll discuss. It's the early game. It's Thursday. That's time, basically, for me, start of the weekend. I mean, we're broadcasting on location at Liberty on the Lake tomorrow. So Thursday, basically, the start of the weekend. And the start of the weekend means a trip to Old Timey Meat Market. Actually was in there on Monday and picked up some oysters. You can go get oysters at Old Timey Meat Market. Last night, I air fried them, I steamed them, and I smoked them. And at Old Timey Meat Market, that's the kind of stuff you're going to find. Not just oysters, but you're going to find the absolute best selection of meat at an absolutely great price. And the one thing that I love about Old Timey Meat Market is that their business is built on the idea of providing you a non-grocery store style meat buying experience. They want to get to know you. They want to get to know the style, the cuts of meat you want, the different foods you like, whether it's steak, whether it's chicken, whether it's pork, whether it's something like oysters or salmon. Old Timey Meat Market has you taken care of. Visit one of their 3 locations, South Congaree, St. Andrews Road, and Irmo, or the Lexington store. Stop by Old Timey Meat Market. Tell them Bill Gunner sent you. All right, still same thing. Same thing going on. One incident to report northbound at Saxagatha on I-77. Right exit ramp is blocked. So if you're traveling that way and need to hop on I-77 northbound at Saxagatha Road, the right exit ramp is blocked. Again, expected to get into the mid-90s today. Makes it a great lake day, especially for teachers who are off. Maybe a layout by the pool kind of day. Low tonight, expected to get down into the 60s, low 60s. And then we're heading for hot temperatures. Hot temperatures coming, mid-90s. You're listening to the early game. $7 a.m. as we get you up and get you going on a Thursday, as Preston Thorne has declared it, the prime
summertime.
Summertime.
This is it. Peak summertime right here.
And this is really about.
This is the only part of summer where you can kind of maybe even forget the days a little bit. You get a little bit into, like, what's today going on? Is it Thursday? Is it June? What's happening? It's a great time, especially on the summer/player calendar.
Yeah, you're really into those deep sleeps, kids. Yeah. As long as the kids are of age where they know how to fix their own breakfast.
Yeah. Go make your own cereal.
Yeah. Wake up. Don't bother mom or dad, whomever. We got this. Sleep in a little bit, like I said just a minute ago on the weather report, into the 90s today. So whether it's a lake day or whether it's a pool day or a water park day, whatever it may be, beach day if you're down there in the Grand Strand or if you're in Florence and you want to head down to the beach, fantastic day to do it. It's also, well, Preston Thorne, we're hitting that time of the year where this is also just like prime baseball time, right?
Yes,
we got the College World Series.
Absolutely.
It's just you throw it on, 9 innings, whether it takes 2 hours or 6 hours, or hopefully the usual 3. It's prime baseball season, and here's a little chop talk now as we'll talk some Braves.
Chop talk.
Hammered, left field, gone! Ronald Acuna, another milestone in a truly historic season.
On the early game is sponsored by Carolina Turf and Grass on the Game Network.
All right, when we last left you, Braves were kind of scuffling along, Preston Thorne. They were not doing what they needed to do, and well, since they've at least kind of turned a corner last night, they knock off the league leading, by the way. We talked about Max Fried, complete games, and all that stuff. Braves last night, 7-0 over the Tigers. They moved to 41-31, and another shutout. That's a league leading shutout. I'll pull that number back up real quick. I had it right there in front of me, and it got away with me. But Sean Murphy back had a pair of 2-run homers, a 3-game sweep of the Tigers. Very good for them. And Reynaldo Lopez lowered his Major League Baseball, not NL, but Major League Baseball leading ERA to 1.57, giving up just 7 hits, walked 1, and struck out 6 last night. Man, the Braves, I'll say this, they've got guys that are trying to step up, but you're not getting production from some of your normal guys, and now you got the injuries, but they're hanging in there, 41-31, 7 back of the Phillies, though.
So the thing with Ronaldo, he reminds us of a former Brave because he is converting he's going the other way. He's going from relief pitcher back to a starting pitcher, which reminds us of a Brave legend, John Smoltz.
Yeah, that's right.
John's old Smoltzy, 200 wins, 150 saves, but that's not what we're talking about today, Bill. We're talking about analytics. We're not talking about ERA, even though Reynaldo Lopez leads the MLB in that. Today we're talking about whip.
Break it down.
Whip it. Whip. I don't know if anybody knows what whip is. I'm finding out what whip is. Now, for reference, John Smoltz had a career whip of .97.
Okay.
A career whip of .97. What is whip, you should ask? Whip is walks and hits per inning pitched. Whip, walks and hits per inning pitched. John Smoltz had .97. The Braves right now, Chris Sale, .94.
By the way, Chris Sale gets the start Friday night. Phenomenal game set for Friday night. Chris, I'm glad you brought that up. Chris Sale, right now 9-2 with a 2.98 ERA, but you mentioned that whip.
.94 whip. Max Fried, 1.07 whip. Not too far off. And Ronaldo Lopez with a 1.08 whip. So Chris Sale is fourth in the MLB with a .94. Max Fried, 20th with 1.07. And Ronaldo Lopez, 1.08. So if you don't know what whip is, as you watch these dudes, if the whip is low, that means they're pitching very well. Remember, for reference, John Smoltz had a career whip of .97. So Ronaldo Lopez doing a great job, especially trying to convert, going back and forth between being a starter and reliever.
You give those numbers, and I think this is interesting about baseball, and I don't know how what I'm going to try to explain. Braves are 7 back of the Phillies. They're 41-31. They have won 5 of their last 6. Last week, again, we were kind of talking about them, and they were scuffling along on Thursday as we were talking about. They were 6.5 back of the Phillies. Now they're 7, so they're falling further back. It feels like a good team. It doesn't feel like a World Series team.
Yeah, not right now. But what the Braves do have, which Paul Maneri said he's going to stress, what all good coaches stress, is they do have pitching and defense. And so as long as you have pitching and defense, you assume or you hope that the offense will come along. You hope that these guys, Matt Olson, all those dudes, you hope that they'll start swinging the sticks and maybe they'll get that going. So if I was a fan, if you're a fan of a team and you have a pitching and defense, I think offense can come along. As to bring this back to the Gamecocks, we did not have pitching and defense, and so you're not going to slug your way to a title.
But here's where I go with that. Like, you're getting phenomenal seasons from Chris Sale. Max Fried is being really good. Ronaldo Lopez is being really good. What if you had Spencer Strider with him? And that's 4 out of your 5, or if you want to go 6-man rotation where it seems like teams are going to, what we kind of talked about. And then if you could just get the bats going, but now you don't have Acuna Jr., because you'd figure at some point he's going to hit his stride. Sean Murphy hit 2 home runs yesterday, and we talked about this. Murphy has missed 49 games after suffering the opening day injury. And by the way, Sean Murphy has been absolutely we talk about like the offense. Murphy's not been good this year, to put it bluntly. Like, he has been absolutely awful this year so far. But you would kind of just say, like, oh, the offense will get going. Ozzie Albies last night, 2 for 4 with an RBI in the game. But you would expect Murphy, who made the All-Star team last year, to pick things up. He was hitting just 135 in the last 15 games. He goes 4 for 4 last night. So my point, I guess, is if you had those 3 pitchers, throw in Spencer Strider, and then you look at that lineup, you were like, oh, they'll get going. It might be August, maybe it's September. They'll get going. Instead, you look at it, we got injuries, we got Strider. It doesn't feel like a World Series team. It feels like a good team, not a World Series team.
And that's where they're going to have to make a decision here, whether or not they're going to buy or sell at the trade now. They're probably not going to sell, but are they going to maybe try and buy themselves or try and go for a guy or two to shore up the lineup? Or, unfortunately, maybe they might just punt on this season. I mean, not punt as in giving up, but maybe not really go for it the way they might if they had all those tools in place.
Phillies, by the way, 49-25. They are just 4-6 in their last 10. Looking around the rest of the league, the Braves head up. They have today off, and they head up to the team with the absolute best record in baseball, the New York Yankees, who are just steamrolling along, 51-25. They lead the Baltimore Orioles, who are really good, by just a game and a half. The Orioles 48-25, so the American League East looking like the American League Beast. Orioles 48-25, Red Sox 40-35, 10.5 back. But Braves start a 3-game series against the Yankees, and I mentioned that Friday game. Yeah, that's going to be a fun one if you can somehow watch it on television. Good luck to you. Hopefully you've got Bally Sports or whatever, however you watch the Braves. Chris Sale will go against Carlos Rodon, 9-3 on the season with a 3.28 ERA, but a huge series for the Braves, especially given the way the Phillies had been playing, not necessarily now.
Yeah, I got this one circle. My brother's a Yankees fan. So
there you go.
We'll have some discussion about that.
I will admit, 97, I think, 96-ish. I'd have to go back and look at the exact year. I know that one was a tough one. I was a Yankees fan and a Braves fan. That was the first time I learned about having two teams that you like and then playing each other for a championship and how to handle it.
Who'd you really want to win?
I'm going to walk you back through that a little bit. Braves got off that hot start. They won 2 games at Yankee Stadium. Andrew Jones was phenomenal. I'll never forget the home run to center field, and the Braves took 2 to start. And I went Braves, and it was actually kind of devastating that the Yankees came back and won the next 4 and put them out of their misery in Atlanta. I think
as my brother reminds me frequently.
Yeah, that was a tough one to swallow, but. Still, but the Yankees 51-25. The Cleveland Guardians leading the AL Central 45-26 on the season.
Shout out to Kev Roche, Guardians fan for life.
Twins and Royals right there behind them. Seattle Mariners. I don't know why, but just it's enjoyable to see the Mariners. It's like a small market team, and for both of us growing up, the Mariners were. Like King Griffey Jr. was something.
Oh, man, yeah, I got that whole lineup. Jay Buhner, King Griffey Jr., Tino Martinez, Edgar Martinez. Got the whole squad.
That was Randy Johnson in there throwing heaters as well. That was like King Griffey Jr. I love how we do the show sometimes where things just pop up. That might lead me down a path later of most iconic players or iconic things. Like Jordan is obviously up there. King Griffey Jr., hat turned around backwards, just hitting bombs. Was iconic.
For sure.
It is at our age.
For sure.
Were you righty or lefty?
I'm lefty.
So they just pegged you as Cecil Felder. They didn't even give you a chance to be Ken Griffey Jr.
No. You go stay on the left-hand side, sir.
That is your Chop Talk, sponsored by Carolina Turf Grass and Landscape Supply Siding, South Carolina, 1 square foot at a time. Give them a phone call, 803-446-6525. It's hot out there. We just talked about the temperature. It's hot. You don't want to be messing with your yard. Call Carolina Turf Grass and Landscape Supply for all of your needs. If it's sod, they've got Bermuda, Centipede, St. Augustine, and Zoysia. They've got products such as soil and sand, gravel, decorative rock, and natural stone. They even got pine straw. And you know what? If you mention you heard it right here, if you call them and you mention you heard it here with Bill Gunner and with Preston Thorne, you can get a mulch discount. So call Carolina Turf Grass and Landscape Supply today. All of your landscaping supply needs. 803-446-6525, the official sponsor of Chop Talk. Coming back, we'll get back into some college football discussion. We got tons we're going to get into today. You're listening to Bill Gunner, Preston Thorne, producer Ed Bird. It's the early game.
Preston here. Let me tell you about my friends at Absolute Glass, the premier glass company of the Midlands, offering auto, home, and business glass repair. So if your glass is damaged, shattered, cracked, or broken, they can handle the job. If it's a cracked windshield, that's no problem. They'll come out to your location and replace it for you, usually for free, and they work directly with the insurance company to take away the headache. Yes, they will come out to wherever you are, school, home, work, the pool, the beach, the lake, wherever you are in this summer, they will come out to you, take care of it, give you a free quote, and then take care of the headache. Now, if you're at home and looking to increase the value of your spot, you can do that with new windows and mirrors. And Absolute Glass will come out and take care of that for you, too. Windows, mirrors, shower enclosures. I say all the time, if you can see through it, Ray and Marianne at Absolute Glass can do it. So check them out online at absoluteglassinc.com. That's online at absoluteglassinc.com.
$7:17, your time here at 107.5 The Game. Just one incident to report. I-77 northbound at Saxagatha Road. The right exit ramp is blocked. Again, I-77 northbound at Saxagatha Road. Right exit ramp is blocked. Preston, I think that lets us know right now it is full summertime. We don't have all that traffic out there, people getting their kids to school. You're doing a good job this morning.
Keep it up.
Keep it up. Drive safely out there. We've got just, again, that one incident. It is expected to get warm today. High of 92 is what is expected. And then we roll into the weekend with mid-90s. It's a lake or pool kind of weekend. You're listening to Bill Gunner, Preston Thorne, producer Ed Bird, the early game. $7:18 as we roll along on your Thursday morning. A reminder, we will be out at Liberty on the Lake tomorrow, hanging out. It is the Lake Murray Power Boat Run, but we've got some great people that'll be joining us. We've got the great folks from Camp Discovery, kind of out your way out in Blythewood. We've got the Big Red Barn Retreat that we'll be talking with. We'll be talking with Sheriff Leon Lott. Reminder to come out there and hang with us tomorrow. You can come and hang out. Liberty on the Lake will not be open. We are out there for the Lake Murray Power Boat Run. We're just doing it from the top deck at Liberty on the Lake. So if you're out there in the Irmo Chapin area, feel free to stop by, say hello to Preston and myself. Preston will be signing autographs as he always does. We'll have a lot of fun, but we'll be out there. And you get to see these boats as they start to roll in early in the morning. And I don't know if we get to take another boat ride with Brett Lasso.
I've been thinking about that. I don't. It was going very fast last time.
Yeah, these are impressive machines if you've never seen. I mean, that's what they are, the machines, and they are absolutely impressive. And as you mentioned, people with lots of money.
Yeah, I don't know if they have lots of money, but they spent lots of money on those boats. They might not have
or
lots
people,
of
people that are showcasing lots of money.
They might have had lots of money, but those boats cost.
Yeah, they may have had past tense. But come out and hang with us tomorrow. We'll be Liberty on the Lake, 1602 Marina Road in Irmo. All the proceeds go to the Big Red Barn Retreat in Blythewood. Again, Camp Discovery will be a part of it, who we partnered with for our 107.5 The Game golf tournament. Sheriff Leon Lott is a part of it, so we look forward to talking to him tomorrow and cutting up with him and talking a little baseball. And Preston, it's funny how this is all played out. I say funny, but it is kind of funny how this is all played out with South Carolina and the College World Series, because I got to admit, and I think you kind of said it, once South Carolina hired Paul Maneri, I was like, yep, that's it. That's the end of baseball season. I'll catch back up with you next year. I'll kind of tune back in next year when you guys kind of come back around. We do have an all SEC final, though, that's going to take place.
SEC.
Have you gotten into this at all?
No, I have not. I'm kind of watching it on the periphery a little bit, but yeah, I don't know. I have not paid a lot of attention to it. Obviously, seeing who's won, catching highlights, but as far as just watching total games, I think once our season ended and we started going into coaching, because what happens is our season ends, and then I would usually watch the rest of the games. But we got so invested in the coaching search, I think that's where the majority of my attention went. And then I just never got back into it.
This will be the This will be the fifth straight championship, College World Series championship for the SEC. That tells you what league. And by the way, this will be the fifth different team. Vanderbilt won it in 2019. 2020 was canceled. 2021 was Mississippi State. 2022 was Mississippi. 2023 was LSU. This year will be Texas A&M or Tennessee. The fifth straight, and that just goes to show you what Paul Maneri is walking back into and what South Carolina is dealing with. By the way, if you just want to back that out just a tad, it will be the sixth champion by the SEC in the last 8 years. 7 champions, six of the last 7. Again, that COVID year throws some of my numbers off. Florida won it in 2017 before Oregon State taking another one and knocking off Arkansas, I should say. Arkansas. So you've had an SEC team in the National Championship Series every year since 2017. And oh, by the way, this will be the fourth since 2017, fourth time it's been SEC versus SEC to win the national championship.
Yeah, you can take that as good or bad news. The good news is that you're playing in the toughest league, and so if you've won 37 games, that means you can compete nationally at any moment. The bad news is you're going to have to play in this league every single day, and you're going to have to earn your victories. But Paul Maneri is very aware. He made an acknowledgement of that. He acknowledged what the league is, and also he acknowledged that it's a little bit more competitive than when he was winning championship, when he won his championship at LSU. So I think everybody recognizes the task at hand.
I get it. Somebody text in. Let me go back to this text here, because they said, there's a text that 10 days until the party in Austin with Pitbull. By the way, Pitbull, you talk about concerts, to welcome Texas and Oklahoma to the SEC. 10 days. But can we go ahead? If we go ahead and just declare Oklahoma an official member of the SEC, it would make for the 4th straight year because Ole Miss beat Oklahoma in baseball for the national championship in 2022. That would make it 4 straight years of just SEC versus SEC violence.
Wow. Okay, I like that.
We're just going to go ahead and
I like that.
rope them in with us.
They're in it. They're in it. There's a reason why they joined. Well, I mean, that just shows the dominance of the conference.
Yeah, I mean that's exactly kind of what it is and what it is. And again, you go back, that 2017 series featured Florida versus LSU. So if you go back and you say the last 7 series, again, we're gonna bend our numbers a little bit to fit our needs. But if you go back over the last 7 series, the last 7 national championship series, you're talking about the SEC having both teams, again, we're skewing the numbers a tad, in the championship series in 5 of the last 7.
I feel like Pitbull's a total miss for this part.
For Texas?
Yeah.
He's not Texas.
What are we doing? That's a total miss. We're late, bad on geography. That's a total miss. I mean, if this was 8 years ago, 7 years ago, maybe. But I don't. I think that's a total miss, and maybe that's a look into the future of Texas in the SEC. But whoever was booking that did not understand the assignment.
Yeah, who do you don't you go with? I mean, by the way, for those of you
it's Texas.
Those of you saw Texas A&M George Strait used the Texas football stadium to set a record for a concert.
Good call.
Yeah, don't you go? You go with.
Got to go with somebody young,
Brooks
hip,
and Dunn,
Texan.
or no?
You can go with somebody young and hip from Texas, or you can go with somebody old and nostalgic from Texas. Not Pitbull. That's a very bad call.
Yeah,
shout out to Pitt, Mr. 305, but that's not SEC.
I was going to say if Miami was coming to the SEC,
then we bring in Pitbull.
And then you got Pitbull bringing them in. There is that taking place, but I mean to kind of finish this, you look at what the SEC is in baseball or was, and now you bring in Oklahoma and Texas and Pulmonary. Welcome back.
Welcome back. Welcome back. The assignment is ahead of you. Good luck. Good luck. Like I said, fortunately, he knows the road ahead of him. His assistants know the road ahead of him, and they know that it's not going to be easy. And they're not going to be impressed, because I keep going back to this again. I sometimes think that the previous coach, Mark Kingston, sometimes I think he might have looked around like, wow, I'm in the SEC. This is nice. I don't know if he ever understood that where we expected South Carolina to be amongst the pecking order of the SEC.
Well, did he look around and be like, this is a tough league. What we're doing is nice?
Probably, yeah.
Yeah, almost that. Like, oh, okay, it's nice. Wait, look, like you can't just say, oh, it's a tough league. 13 and 17 is a good year.
Right.
Like this program is not built on being an average program. Like, yes, it's a tough league, and we're supposed to be one of the toughest. And you kind of kept bringing it up during the year. Like, what did people think? Oh, do we have to play South Carolina? Oh, we got to play South Carolina, or we play South Carolina?
Yeah, we kept talking about us having breaks in the schedule, and other teams were like, going to Columbia this weekend.
Or Columbia's coming here. Mm-hmm. South Carolina's coming here. It's a good point, and that is one thing about Paul Mainieri. He's not going to look at this league and be like, oh, that's difficult. But I'm happy to be here. Just happy to be coaching in this league.
Yeah, no, he's definitely not happy to be here, and he's coming to win, which is a great note for everybody that's involved.
803-404-6100 if you want to weigh in this morning. Bill Gunner, Preston Thorne, Jen Jensen on vacation, so we got producer Ed Bird filling in for him. When we come back, we'll get back into a little bit of those 3-star recruits. What does it mean? Professor Thorne will tell us all about it. We'll listen to him. You're listening to The Early Game. Bill Gunner for Love Chevrolet, where the summer savings are rolling along. You need to get out and visit the great folks of Love Chevrolet. 14 acres of Chevys to choose from, and you know what? You're going to get the absolute best deal. There's incredible summer savings on the entire lineup of award-winning Chevys. It's actually unprecedented what they're doing. If you don't believe me, go find out for yourself. I-26 in Harbison between Lowe's and Frankie's Fun Park. Get out there today. I mentioned it, 14 acres of Chevys to choose from, and that incredible sales staff. To me, that's what makes them stand out, is that sales staff. So friendly, so courteous, so knowledgeable that when you walk on the lot, they'll answer your questions. They'll walk you around. They're going to find the car, truck, or SUV that you have been looking for. And with those incredible summer savings taking place, you need to get out to Love Chevrolet. So visit Love Chevrolet today, and together, let's drive. .32, your official 107.5 The Game time. All right, we've cleared up that incident that was on 77 northbound. That one's done. We've got that cleared up, so you're good to go. Everything moving smoothly there, but we've created one more. Highway 16 at Medical Park Road. We got a little bump and bruise there. Highway 16 at Medical Park Road. Again, high today, expected to be close to 92, so it's going to be warm. Try and stay hydrated, keep the pets hydrated. And the low tonight of 63 as we hit the weekends, it's going to be the mid-90s, that summer heat, that lovely Columbia summer heat rolling in. You're listening to Preston Thorne, Bill Gunner, producer Ed Bird. It's 107.5 The Game. smoothly rolling along here on a Thursday morning. Again, reminder, we will be out at Liberty on the Lake tomorrow morning, broadcasting live from the Lake Murray Power boat run that starts taking place. The boats start rolling in tomorrow, and then the run is actually on Saturday, and we'll have a lot more information on that. Also want to remind you the craft beer card is back. You can spend just $79 to get a $360 valued card. $30 at 12 different craft beer locations. Go to 1075thegame.com and click on Sweet Deals to get your craft beer card. It is back, and you can purchase one, just $79. Go to 1075thegame.com and click on Sweet Deals. Preston, we talked a little bit about it in the previous hour. I'm going back, by the way, and I think I'm going to save this for later on the Jadeveon Clowney discussion. And because I think as I kind of brought it up in talking, I want to get more numbers on how he's performed, because if you're being honest, the hype around Jadeveon Clowney was obviously unreal. It was unreal coming from South Point. It was unreal going to South Carolina. It was unreal going to the NFL. And at this point in his career, he's got 52.5 sacks. He will be 32 years of age next February. But you had a five-star, and he was, I think 24/7 Sports has him as one of the highest, as the highest, if not the. He's in the top two. I think it was him and Trevor Lawrence as the top two highest-rated recruits of all time. And so that kind of hype, you're expected to perform. 3 stars are different. And as people who probably don't break down film and start studying or looking at calves, as we discussed earlier, sometimes when you get a 3-star recruit, people are like, okay, all right, got it. Yep, nice. So,
yeah,
Professor Thorne?
Yeah, I know, and that's what it all depends. It all depends on, I've said it before, I'll say it again. 3-star recruit equals a chicken breast. You might really be excited about a chicken breast, or it might just be grilled chicken again. I don't know what it is. It might depend on the coach that's developing in them. It might depend on the things that are around them. Do they have certain intangibles around them that actually make them a 4-star as opposed to a 3-star? A chicken breast can be pretty good, or it can be very dry and boring. 3-star, right down the middle. Nobody hates it. Probably most people's not going to be first choice. It's there. It all depends on what do you want to do with this thing. And I think that's where we have to rely on the track record of the coaching staff as far as developing folks. You have to look at their acumen for recruiting. Have they taken any 3-stars and taken them to the next level? So I don't know how you want to feel about the 3-stars that they're recruiting, but it does give them a baseline level to start with.
Here's one thing that I want everybody to remember, because this is what I'm going to say is very important. Any player is a 3-star because, generally speaking, somebody who didn't play a high level of sports said they're a 3-star. Does that make sense? Like myself, I considered myself a good evaluator of talent. I didn't play at a level. So, Preston, there are nuances to the game in football. So when these kids get rated a 3-star, it's not. Connor Shaw was a 3-star football recruit. Connor Shaw was a 3-star football recruit.
Mm-hmm.
No offense to him, Jordan Birch was a 5-star football recruit. Who would you rather have? What would you rather have? But it comes back to player development also. That's what Steve Spurrier did so well during his tenure. Guys like Brad Lawing, when he was guys like as a defensive, say what you want about him, defensive backs coach, maybe not a defense coordinator, Lorenzo Ward. Those guys knew how to develop talent. I mean, you had guys coming. I'm trying to think. I think Jimmy Legree came from Buford. You had Victor Hampton, who was a 4-star, but you've got to be able to develop those guys and know what you're doing with them as well.
You said Brad Lawing in Buford that thinks about Devin Taylor.
Yep.
I mean, he was 6'12", he was 8 feet tall, but he was not a great football player when he signed at the university. But Brad Lawing saw something in him and felt like he was going to, and it took him a while to develop, but he developed into a heck of a football player by the time that it was here. So you can have somebody, and the 3-star might be because they have the raw materials, or it might be because they're an overperformer at the high school level, or it might be because they have a motor. There's all types of reasons why you can have a 3-star. 3-star is a blank
Eric
canvas.
Norwood's another guy. You talk about motor. When you said motor, that Eric Norwood came to.
Same thing. So Eric Norwood is in the intangibles. When you look at him, you're like, okay. But then when you see him play, you're like, oh, wow. So you might argue that he was never actually a 3-star. When he played, he was always going to be a 4-star because he was great from the time he started. And so it's all on what you think about these guys as far as them playing is concerned.
You've told it before, so I started laughing as I was thinking also. You talk about rating. It's different, a little bit different these days. Go back to your day. What was it? What was the exact story? You were the number 3 player in the state, and then you went to the library and you had dropped to
I was the number 3 player in the state, number 3 defense, number 3 player overall prospect. Period. And then I went to the library because we didn't have the internet in my house. So I had to go to the Somerville Public Library, get on dial-up, and imagine the dial-up happening really slowly, very slowly. It gets to number 3, I'm not there. And it keeps going down and down and down and down to 26. I'm like, hold on a second. What happened? How did I go with this without playing a game? Without playing a game, going to a camp, nobody even saw me. But they was kind of right. They was probably right. And that's what I think about. You know, and during my recruiting, which was a long time ago, it was between myself and Donnell Washington. And I was going to get either or scholarship. Wherever Donnell chose, I was going to go to the other place. He chose to go to Clemson. I got a chance to go to South Carolina based on that. And I got to say, Clemson wasn't wrong. They weren't wrong in that choice. You know, everything worked out for everybody involved. But listen, man, sometimes there's a reason why folks are 3-star guys. And like I said, a 3-star guy, according to recruits, means that with development, they should turn into a contributor/starter over time.
Maybe not the instant impact
Correct.
guy. And in this day and age, and this is so different, and we kind of joked about it with Paul Maneri because of the kind of the explosion of the transfer portal. You go to the transfer portal not expecting to find that developmental guy. You go to the transfer portal to find the guy who comes in and is the instant starter, instant impact guy. So as you're taking these 3-star guys, I almost look at it in football now as you're building out your roster, hoping these guys, look, if guys develop, good. You want them to stay with your program. What you don't want is a guy to develop and then jump ship and get out of here. I mean, look, if you get a 4 or 5-star prospect and they come in and have a big year, that's one thing. I'm not saying it's right, but the 3-star guys, that's what's agitating. That's what's frustrating for, I think, a lot of people. So you get these guys, you find the diamond in the rough, you develop them, and then the first chance they get to jump ship. And look, I know he came back, but Gilbert Edmond, I think, is a perfect example of that.
Yeah, I think that's a great example of a guy that, like you said, he was here, developed, left. I don't know if things worked out there, but anyway, he's back. So maybe there's a strategy to recruiting guys that you can develop over a time period and then seeing how that plays out, and you supplement with instant impact. Maybe that's a new recruiting strategy. I don't know.
And that goes back to what we talked about on Monday, I think, with Cutter Woods.
My guy.
If you get past the hair in the name.
My guy.
Like a 3-star guy who you're bringing in, but you're saying, hey, we're going to develop you. You're going to sit for a little bit. You're not going to maybe have the snaps you want right off the bench, because none of these guys are coming in. You mentioned Cutter Woods won a state championship. He's getting every snap. He's getting every competitive snap he can get. Well, if he were to commit to South Carolina, or if he stays committed to Wake Forest, you're not getting that right off the bat when you go up there.
You brought it up. How many sacks did Jadeveon Clowney have?
52.5 for right now in the NFL.
Yeah, well, 52.5 NFL.
Yeah.
5-star guy.
Right.
John Abraham, not a 5-star recruit. 133 sacks.
I just saw that, yeah. 33.5, by the way.
33.5. Might be a potential Hall of Famer. But so that's just to say, just here in South Carolina, we had a guy who was a 5-star guy who has been, you would say he was really good, and I would say John Abraham was great with 133 sacks, and that was because of development again for RRP Brad Lawn, and also he had an outstanding physical talent that he turned into making a lot of. I don't know if you've seen John lately. John, to this day, right now, could go get 7 sacks.
Was he at the golf tournament that we were at Jonathan's?
No, he wasn't. He wasn't there.
He wasn't there?
He was.
I thought he was, but I could be wrong.
I didn't see him, but yeah, John. Shout out to Bank, but he could probably get 7 sacks right now.
7 sacks.
Yeah, I mean, just coming off the edge, just not touching anybody, just third down rushing the quarterback for sure.
803-404-6100 is how you can, if you want to weigh in on anything you hear this morning. We'll get into a few other things as well, including some superstars' kids. Are we seeing? There's a theory out there on Bronny James now. I'll throw it at Preston Thorne, see if he agrees. Charlie Woods qualifying for the USGA as well. Kids heading in different directions. I'll explain a little bit when we come back. You're listening to the early game. Bill Gunner for the Ecton Law Firm. Are tax troubles weighing you down? If so, don't let the stress of taxes, levies, or liens hold you back any longer. Local attorney John Ecton and his team are ready to help you, whether you're here in Columbia, Florence, Myrtle Beach, wherever you may be listening this morning here in the great state of South Carolina. John Ecton is ready to help you get that stress off your shoulders, help you sleep better at night. If you received one of those mean notices from the IRS, call the Ecton Law Firm today and get a free consultation. 803-771-9800. Again, that's 803-771-9800. The Ecton Law Firm understands the challenges you're facing, and that's why they're ready to offer you the peace of mind you deserve with proven local solutions. So visit them on the web for more information, ectonlawfirm.com. That's ECT Law Firm, ECTON lawfirm.com, or give them a phone call today. Tell them Bill Gunner sent you. Bill Gunner for Mid-State Roofing. For nearly 30 years, Larry Leitner and the family, they've been the proven leader in the roofing and waterproofing industry. It's their history that is your assurance that their professionals will provide the proper advice, service, and results to the needs of your facility in a manner both safe and pleasing to you. I mean, let's be honest. How often are you really thinking about your roof? You need proven professionals. So whether it's high-rises or hospitals, manufacturing or industrial, Mid-State Roofing designs and installs bonded systems that'll keep your operation dry and running long into the future. And they'll do it 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. They've got an on-call technician or a Mid-State Roofing employee ready to help you with a maintenance contract. Give them a phone call, 803-356-1919. Again, it's 803-356-1919. If you've got a leak, Mid-State Roof, let Mid-State Roofing take a peek. Wrapping up the second hour here, Preston Thorne, Bill Gunner, producer Ed Bird. Jen Jensen out till next Tuesday, so we will get you through here as we are rolling along through the summer, Preston Thorne, rolling along. And one thing, you and I never, correct me if I'm wrong, your father, never a professional athlete, never.
No, no.
Didn't have to live up to the professional
Did not.
celebrity status of Papa Thorne?
Did not.
Okay, neither did I. You ever given thought what that would be like if you were Charlie Woods or Bronny James?
No, I have not, actually. I mean, I'm assuming there's a shadow to live in, but that shadow is probably created by your $10 million mansion. So, yes, there's perks, pluses and minuses.
By the way, I'll have to pull this up just the way you just said that. Like, I've got to go back and give you, have you seen the USA National Under-17 basketball team?
Yes.
Like all the names on it?
Yes.
They're all the kids of former NBA, most of, not all of them, obviously. But there's like 6 kids of it's Carmelo Anthony's kid is on there. I believe there's another James on there. Carlos Boozer's son is on there.
Yeah, this is a conversation we could have for this is summer, Bill, so there's plenty of conversations to have. But it's amazing. Genetics, nature, and nurture will put you on the USA team. If you get the genetics, honestly, and then your parents have enough money to support whatever you want to do, you're probably going to be ahead of the rest of the field.
Well, you got to have a drive to you, right?
Maybe.
Well,
genetics will take you really far.
Well, no, but you still have to. So let me compare 2 kids that we're watching come up. Charlie Woods seems to genuinely love golf and want to be a professional. I can't tell on Bronny James. And we've talked about this. LeBron James has gone out of his way to basically say, hey, my goal is to play in this league and play with my son, to be the first father-son true duo in this league. LeBron's been outspoken about that public.
Mm-hmm.
Bronny's just like, In talking with some people I know, there is now becoming a theory, and this is an interesting theory, that Bronny James is ready to play the NBA for 2 years. And I got to go hang out with Dad.
Yeah, not a lot of fun.
I'm gonna hang out with Dad for 2 years. I'm gonna fulfill Dad's dream because I love Dad.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm gonna go do. I mean, the James family has a lot. Give LeBron. We've talked about this. LeBron's annoying. He's wholesome. He's yelling Taco Tuesday. LeBron James really should be celebrated a little bit more just because in this day and age of social media, you've never seen a video of him at a casino.
Yeah, I mean,
with cell phones and everything. I mean, good Lord, what would we have said about Michael Jordan back in the day if you could videotape stuff on your cell phone?
Yeah, I will say LeBron was at the concert last night. Been a very difficult spot because Drake has been on his show, so he was at the Kendrick Lamar concert last night. So tough spot for LeBron, but when you're 6'8", you can't hide.
Yeah.
So he was in a tough spot last night.
But I guess my point on that, but there is a theory that Bronny's just like, fine, Dad, I'm gonna go be in the NBA.
Could be something to
go hang with you for 2 years, and then let's both get out of this together.
And that is a very possible thing, and that happens to normal people. Sometimes it's like people might say your parents might really want you to go to medical school or really want you to take over the family business or something along those lines, and maybe you just do it because out of a sense of duty, but you don't actually want to do it. I could see that being very possible.
On the flip side of that, Charlie Woods seems to be like, all right, Dad, family business is golf, right? Let's go get them. What are we going to do? I'm ready. All right, here's our timeline. What are we going to do?
That's very plausible also. And what's interesting is I've seen Charlie, but I guess I haven't thought about Charlie actually being an athlete till very recently, but he's starting to make his way into the conversations about where is he going to be, how good is he going to be, et cetera, et cetera. I think they've done a very good job of protecting him and protecting his image where, you haven't really seen him as much publicly as even maybe Tiger was when he was
Charlie
was
is being put out there more and more now. He's 15 at this point. For those that don't know, Charlie's 15, wow. And he is now going. He was the top qualifier for the U.S. Junior Amateur next month at Oakland Hills. I think it was most recent. He didn't play well, but I think he tried to qualify for an actual PGA Tour event, or maybe it was the US Open. I can't remember. He tried to do something, didn't do well a couple weeks ago. But he's having to learn. He's having to learn how to handle the spotlight, much like Bronny James did. But it feels like Bronny James is like, man, I'm having to do this because of Dad. Whereas Charlie Woods is like, yeah, I'm all in. It's interesting to see these two kids. And I know Tiger's a little bit older. By the way, we probably might want to get back into Tiger tomorrow or something, because I know you said, like, all right, Tiger, it's time to step away. Or Tiger, you.
I mean, you can keep showing up. We love to see you. We can see your new clothes, the Sunday red lines. The shirts look cool. But I mean, as far as us actually thinking you're going to win anything,
Well, you saw what the PGA Tour did.
no.
They created. This is first ever. He has now got a lifetime exemption to all signature events.
I get it.
Doesn't have to qualify. Doesn't have to do any qualifying.
Perfect.
Doesn't matter what he's in. He's so like the RBC Heritage. If he wants to bring the yacht down and bring the family down and play 2 rounds of golf on Thursday, Friday, and miss the cut, whatever.
He's earned it.
He's allowed to do that. But it is interesting to see these kids and what I think is different paths, because it really feels like Bronny James is like, all right, I'm going to do this because Dad says I got to do it. Whereas Charlie Woods is like, I'm going to do this because I want to do it.
There's a very strong possibility. Also, Bronny James is saying, like, I don't think I'm as good as Dad is.
Yeah. Bronny's looking around now. He's facing competition like, well, these guys are pretty good. I have good genetics. I don't have those. Like, I'm just not that.
I didn't get them all.
Hour 3 on the way. We'll discuss a few more. You're listening to the early game. It is officially the summer break, and you're probably having fun outdoors. Kids are definitely having fun outdoors, but that also means tracking more dirt into your home. That means having to clean. And if you're like me and, well, you like to move that responsibility to somebody else so that you can enjoy the day, well, guess what? Zerust Carpet and Air Duct Cleaning is the company to call. 803-262-4020. They will keep your home insanely clean. So you need to act fast and take advantage of their summer sale. Get 15% off all cleaning services, carpets, air ducts, upholstery, even area rugs, all 15% off. And you get this for a limited time. Just mention me, Bill Gunner, at 107.5 The Game, and you can get 15% off. If you book online, use the promo code Summer Sale when scheduling. Again, that's 15% off when you mention me, Bill Gunner, at 107.5 The Game. So give them a phone call, 803-262-4020, or schedule online using the promo code Summer Sale. Zerust, spell it backwards or forwards. It's the right way to clean. One new incident to report: Harbison at I-26. We're just getting word of this, so we'll have you more information in the next update. But your traffic report right now, still got an incident, Highway 16 at Medical Park Road, but Harbison and I-26, we got a little tie-up there. Be careful if you're heading that way. As soon as we get more information on that, we'll definitely share that with you. But the other one, Highway 16 at Medical Park Road. High today, expected to be close to 92. Get yourself in a pool or out on the lake. High this weekend into the 90s. You're listening to the 107.5 The Game. For those of you who have decided to wake up this morning, as we've discussed, it's summertime. Most teachers probably still laying in bed, maybe laying in bed having a cup of coffee, just relaxing. June the 20th, this is, as Preston has said, prime summer time, and we've got our countdowns going on. And so we got I'm going to start with 14 days, 2 weeks until the 4th of July, Preston. But then that leads us into how many days to football and Southern 500?
72 days until Old Dominion, 73 days until the Southern 500, 27 days until July 16th, which is a technicality here because July 16th we thought is when the game is going to be released. But our youth correspondent, Austin Gunner, has told us that the game actually starts downloading on the 13th.
Yeah, I gotta get back to you tomorrow with more information.
We're a little bit out of touch on that, so we got confused. But I think July 16th is going to be the date when the game is officially released.
He and I were talking yesterday. By the way, and I'll just say this: he was with me on Tuesday. He's with me a lot, but Tuesday he came and hung out. And I actually had to come back to the studio and do something. And then I went and cut the Gamecocks Plus television show with Jay Phillips. Try explaining. Well, I'm going to have you explain a little bit. I took him to Bernie's for his first chicken experience, for his first Bernie's experience. Because if you like chicken, you got to go to Bernie's at some point in your life. One time, like I said, it's But me trying to explain to him, Steve Spurrier coming in and telling players, no Bernie's.
Want to talk about a revolt? Glad I was gone for that.
Well, and that's what I tried to tell. I was like, number one, son, and Austin's gone to a bunch of football games. He's been around. He's 12, but he's been around. But he doesn't understand the transformation of the Williams-Brice area.
Yeah, for sure.
And obviously, news coming out on the big project there. They're now submitted. They're requesting for proposals and whatnot. But he doesn't understand the area. And so I was trying to explain Bernie's. But I was also trying to explain, son, as college kids, because Bernie's is still relatively cheap. Like what we got for the amount of food we got for $20 was incredible. But I was like, son, there was a time where a coach came in and told football players, you can't just travel down here and get some good fried chicken.
Yeah, that was the bold statement. That's when he knew Steve Spurrier was serious about changing the direction of the program. Yeah, man. Shout out to Austin for having that experience. That's a great thing. That's a Columbia staple for sure.
But I've got to get more information from him on what is transpiring, because I'll admit when my son said, "Oh, it starts downloading the 13th," Preston, we're older guys. I had video back in the day. I would wait for the release of NCAA, whatever football game at Walmart at 12 a.m. They'd bring the pallet out, and it was like throwing a pig and a bunch of sharks, and it just got gobbled away. Everybody jumped on that pallet of NCAA games. And then you'd go home and you'd take out the disc and you'd put the disc in, and you know what you'd do? You'd play.
Yeah, and also you would play somebody next to you.
Yes.
Not somebody out in space somewhere, some distant land called the internet.
I'm
acting like I understand this. I have no idea what they're talking about when they're saying downloading games and play. I don't know what that is. So I have to rely on the youth correspondents for this.
All right. Wayne is helping me here. Yeah, he says you get to download 3 days early. Well, no, that's the 16th. We pre-ordered. But yes, it's one of those, like Austin said something about it starts downloading into your system. If it takes 3 days to download this, I am terrified of this game.
I mean, it's a huge game. They've really spared no detail as far as what they have included in the game. So I could imagine it being a very large file or whatever that means. So, yeah, good luck. But again, I'm still using disc. So
that's how I'm kind of like, you don't want the actual disc you can take to your buddy's house and put it in.
No,
and that's not even, that doesn't even, I don't think that works anymore. I don't think you can take your disc. I could be wrong again. I'm removed from I now know what my dad was going through when I was like 12 and 13. I was like, how does dad not know how to play these video games? 30 years later, I'm like, oh, I get it now. I got it.
Yeah, and I've also reached a stage of how my old man was, too, because at a certain point, regardless of what system I had, it was Nintendo. That was the last thing he didn't make it to Genesis, Super Nintendo. The last thing I think he had awareness of was Nintendo. So he was like, you up there playing Nintendo? I was like, no, I'm not. This is PlayStation, but didn't matter to him. That wasn't the point. I've reached that stage now. Like, what PlayStation are we on? PlayStation 5, 4, 3? I don't know.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm just going to go back to calling it Nintendo.
So we got the countdown to that, and we've also got the countdown going. You said 72 days. Did I catch that correctly?
72 days.
Till Old Dominion. One of the things we talked about earlier, not so much about the decision by Nick Harbor to skip. Was this his way of taking the easy route out of like, like he's looked around now and been like, there's other track stars out there. I'm good. I got to get better. I'm not an Olympic.
He made a business decision.
Yeah.
And I don't know if maybe it would have been cool to go out there and see the pomp and circumstance and see what the trials was for all of that. I could make an argument for that, but the chances of him getting that much faster in that little bit of a time probably was not going to happen.
So we changed the conversation, or I changed it to a bit. Okay, he's going to focus on football now, and he's going to spend the next, basically, what do you want to call it? I'll round up. It's not 45. It's like 40 in our countdown system, but I'm going to ballpark where they start around August 3rd. He's going to spend about the next 45 days focused entirely on football. Not having pads on, not being hit, Preston Thorne, how much better can he get?
There are improvements that he can make. He can take repetitions on the jugs drill. He can work his routes. He can do all of those types of things. I argued in the earlier period that the mental reps that a lot of coaches tout are not as important when you actually need the physical reps, because, again, if mental reps were just as good as physical reps, why are we doing these physical reps? We could all just take mental reps all day. So he can get better at some of the technicalities of playing the position while going through the physical ropes of doing it.
How do I word it? I'm trying to think of, we talked about the mental reps, and that's where did he get smarter during the spring? Probably, maybe, I would guess. Maybe does he know the plays better? But Preston, for a guy like Nick Harbor, like we talked about this, if you compare a guy like Rocket Sanders, who didn't play during the spring, but has played a lot of college football, and his big thing, Rocket Sanders' big thing would be to learn the playbook. Mental reps are great. He could stand there and watch, and that was fine for him. But we've talked about this. Nick Harbor appears to be a phenomenal athlete. Like, run, jump, big, fast, strong. But playing football is not just about being big, fast, strong. You have to have some nuance, especially at the wide receiver position, such as just something as simple as getting off the line of scrimmage on press coverage.
I think that's the biggest distinction that we have to make. He has all of the numbers as far as measurables, but at his particular position, wide receiver it's a skilled position. What he's going to have to work on is building those skills. The good thing about skills is that you can build on this and you can grow them. But he did not come to the university being a very skilled football player. Great athlete, not a very skilled football player.
And we've talked, you're in the SEC. And that's understandable. It takes time to develop. And you've seen that guys that come in and both either they were incredible in high school because they were bigger, faster, stronger than everybody else, but then they got to college and there was a bunch of big, fast, strong guys, and they either fell apart or they developed their craft. They worked really hard, and that's going to be what he's got to do. But I do wonder if you're not being hit, and I say this because that is a part of the game. Being hit in high school by a defensive back who's 5'8", 140, being hit is entirely different than being hit by Nick Eamon-Wari, who's 6'4", 225 at the safety position.
It's the part of the game. It's the game. It's the game because a lot of people can go out there and catch balls and run routes and do things, but the threat of having your neck knocked off his block, that changes the calculus on what decisions you make while you're playing football. So, yeah, that is the X factor. While you can have all of those other things, and that's why a lot of coaches don't put much stock into a lot of these 7-on-7 type of deals because it's taking out a very key element of the game. You could get hurt trying to do this. So, we'll see.
803-404-6100, how you can weigh in. We got Josh Harris coming up here at about 8:35 this morning. We'll get back into a couple other topics as well. We got some video game moments and a few other things taking place. The NHL Finals still taking place. That'll be Friday night later on this week, and we'll talk a little bit about that, plus some College World Series stuff. You're listening to Preston Thorne, Bill Gunner, producer Ed Burt filling in for Jen Jensen. It's the early game. Bill Gunner for Zerez Carpet and Air Duct Cleaning. As we roll through the summer, let's be honest, you'd rather be outside playing on the lake, sitting by the pool, grilling out with your friends and family. You don't want to be inside cleaning, having to mop the floors, having to vacuum. That's no fun at all. You need to call the professionals at Zerez Carpet and Air Duct Cleaning to keep your home insanely clean. And right now they're offering you an incredible deal. Their summer sale where you can get 15% off all cleaning services. That's right. It's carpets, air ducts, upholstery, and area rugs. All 15% off when you mention me, Bill Gunner, at 107.5 The Game. Give my phone call, 803-262-4020, or schedule online. Use the promo code SUMMERSALE. That's ZerezColumbia.com. Again, you don't want to clean this summer. Let's be honest. You want to have fun. You need to call Zerez Carpet and Air Duct Cleaning right now. Zerez, spell it backwards or forwards, is the right way to clean. All right, I got an update on that situation. Harbison Boulevard at Park Terrace. There are injuries involved, so if you're heading out in the Harbison area, try to avoid Harbison Boulevard at Park Terrace. Sounds like we have a significant issue there going on. Also, Highway 16 at Medical Park Road, still an issue, so be advised of that. High today, expected into the 90s, close to 92. High this weekend, mid-90s. It's going to be a warm one. You're listening to Preston Thorne, Bill Gunner, producer Ed Bird. It's the early game. .8:16 is the official time here at 107.5 The Game. As I have to check text messages, I'm looking. We got to get in touch with Sheriff Leon Lott. He thinks he's coming in at 9:15 tomorrow to join us at Liberty on the Lake. We got to tell him that no. We're gonna have to do earlier. As I get a text while we're doing the show. So we'll get in touch with Sheriff Leon Lott because tomorrow we will be out at Liberty on the Lake to be a part of the Lake Murray Power Boat Run as the boats will start rolling in. You can come join us. Liberty on the Lake itself will not be open, but Preston and I will be out there. We got some great people swinging by to hang out with us, whether it's from Camp Discovery, from the Big Red Barn Retreat, or Sheriff Leon Lott. I need to obviously respond to this text message during the break and say no, 9:15 would be too late. But we look forward to being out there with Brett and Allie and hanging out for the Lake Murray Power Boat Run, and I'll get you more information on that as well. 803-404-6100. Preston, is anybody really having a better year than Dawn Staley? Because it feels like every little thing that comes up on Dawn Staley is just positive, ultra positive. What, she was at the fashion show, a week, was it earlier this week or last week?
Yeah, she was right at the front row at the Gucci show, and not just at the show, but she was decked out in the paraphernalia also. Good look.
Wins the national championship, and one of the top articles on USA Today is Dawn Staley. We are at that time of year where I get it, there's a little less to talk about, but Dawn Staley sends classy message to Cameron Brink, the star player for the Los Angeles Sparks, or I guess was a star player, I'm not real sure. But Cameron Brink, originally from Stanford, I've seen her in a couple commercials. Took me a minute to figure out what she tore her ACL, is out for the season. All Dawn Staley did was tweet at her. Prayers up, Cam. Know your basketball family want nothing but for you to get healed and get back out there. And Dawn Staley is coming across this year as the ambassador for basketball.
Yeah.
Like, if you look at the way she kind of, even though Caitlin Clark lost, the way Dawn Staley talked about her and put her on a pedestal, the way she's treated her own players.
Even when Dawn Staley loses, she wins because, as we know, she's a Philadelphia native and the 76ers got handled. But upsurfaced a picture of her and a young Jalen Brunson when he was a child. So even then, she could claim victory to Jalen Brunson when as one of her proteges. So even when her team lost, she still came out on top.
Dawn's living the life right now.
Doing wonderful.
I mean, absolutely living the life. That was just one of the things I saw on that. One other topic that I didn't get a chance to get into a little bit, the discussion, because I feel like this is just yelling into the wind, is Charles Barkley retiring from TV announcing. How did you absorb that information?
I mean, I've been following him. He's consistently said that he was only going to do it for a certain amount of time. So in making an announcement, it feel like it caught a lot of people off guard. I know the folks at TNT were like,
well, it doesn't matter. They're
didn't know that was going to happen. I mean, they're going to be for one more year. So I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. this happens a lot of times in a lot of professions, but especially with coaches. It's the end of the year. You're tired. You don't want to do it anymore. You're like, man, I'm not doing this again. And then inevitably, as you get a little rejuvenated and you relax a little bit, some teachers might be going through that right now. Like, I don't think I want to do that again. But you get back into it. So maybe that was just him speaking, or maybe he's going to retire. I don't know.
Here's the thing with it. Number one, I hope he doesn't retire. I hope somebody finds a way to bring him into a pre or post game show or whatever. However this television contract works, I don't know how everybody feels about this, and that's what's kind of interesting because I do think Barkley can be polarizing. Do not just send Shaq and Barkley, in particular, off into the wilderness for a podcast. You've got to keep them as part of some kind of show, and preferably, I don't want to see it be a debate show like what we see on ESPN and everything. But Shaq and Barkley working together for some kind of commentary, and that's why I say, like, I think he loves that too much to just step away. I think a lot of announcers do. It's a hard job in the aspect of travel, and there is a level of preparation. But at the same time, like, those two guys on a variety of different subjects. I mean, I've listened to Charles. They've had him on a couple of the hockey broadcasts, or they had him on, I guess, I think it was the Eastern or Western. I forget which one it was. But at halftime or at the intermissions, he held his own. He was entertaining to listen to.
Well, here's the thing. Chuck was just as much prep for the NHL as he is for the NBA. It's about the same amount of level of film watching and knowledge that he goes into it. We just love listening to him for what he's going to say, whether he's talking about those big old women in San Antonio or whether he's talking about the food that he's going to eat with Ant. We love Charles Barkley because he's so authentic, and we don't want to hear that voice disappear because he's been somebody who's been in our lives as a commentator now for so long. And so you just want to hear his voice. At some point, he'll say something stupid to you, and you'll be like, come on, Chuck, what are you talking about? But then you'll get back outside because it's like, it's Chuck.
I don't want to see him retire. I hope they find a way. Now that the NBA is over for this year, and we'll go to, again, a week from today. Well, I should say a week from tomorrow, I think, after the NBA draft, Preston, our discussion will be we will have some discussion about the NBA draft, but it will be a little bit different type of discussion as to how the NBA may be changing with where Bronny James goes.
Well, the Lakers are at a crossroads right now. They don't have a coach. They got turned down by a coach, apparently. And then so they're trying to find a coach. Haven't found that yet, and they're gonna have to figure out, are they going to willing to sell their future for 2 more years with LeBron in the form of drafting Bronny. So they are at a crossroads as far as the decision that they have to make.
Speaking real quick of the NBA, just crazy. Monty Williams at Detroit. I mean, is this people with too much money making people with too much money decisions?
Yeah, I mean, nobody saw this when they first saw him signed. He had just gotten fired from Phoenix because of various reasons, and essentially Detroit was like, well, we'll take him, and you know what? We'll take you getting fired, we'll take you off the garbage pile, and we'll pay you more than any other coach in the NBA. And then they're surprised when it did not end up working. So Monty did not connect with the old guys at Phoenix. They didn't like him. Then the young guys in Detroit didn't like him. They were the worst team in the league. So Detroit, which, by the way, president of basketball operations with Detroit, Trajan Langdon. So when you start feeling a little bit aged right there. But he decided, you know what? Take your $65 million and go home, please, sir.
I mean, we got caught up in the Jimbo Fisher buyout because it was college, but 65 million. I mean, he signed, Monty Williams, if you didn't hear this, signed last year, 6-year, $78 million contract.
Who were they bidding against? He just got fired.
Well,
they were
not
bidding
only that,
against nobody.
Being serious, they were bidding against cancer. If you didn't know the story, his wife, Monty Williams, was going to not coach because his wife was diagnosed with cancer. And then they said, all right, $78 million. And he went, we'll figure this one out. We'll find a way to make it work. And he ended up taking the contract. Well, now Monty Williams can hang out for a while with $65 million plus whatever he's made.
You think?
This was absurd money yesterday that got tossed to a guy for having, by the way, a record bad season.
They were abysmal. But here's the difference between pro and college. Why I have no problem with this with pros, because apparently this is some owner. It's his money. He made the money through revenue deals and contracts. If they want to waste it on a coach who was never good from the beginning, that's your prerogative. College is different because these monies are coming from all these other sources, and they're ponying up from whether it's donors, tuition, taxes, whatever, and that's where they're getting those money from buyouts. So I don't have any problem with an owner, NBA or a professional owner saying, hey, I want to waste my money on this coach and pay him over market value. You do you. There is a difference when they do it in college, and what they did with Jimbo Fisher is ridiculous. What we did here with Will Muschamp was ridiculous. There is a difference between those two things.
803-404-6100, and we'll wrap up this segment. Josh Harris with Darlington, president of Darlington Raceway, joining us in a minute. Preston, I'm going to read these two text messages to you and see how it affects your heart and how it affects your age.
Okay.
Text always in says, it's easier to download games now and save to the cloud. Your gaming system runs quieter.
What cloud? The cloud. Runs quiet. What are we talking about, man? It's just.
Thank you, texter. First time texter, by the way.
Appreciate it, sir.
And Ty weighs in and says, as a resident old head in his 40s, if you need, and by the way, I may have to get in touch with Ty and just see where we're going with this. Ty weighs in and says, as a resident old head in his 40s, if you need any help understanding this new era of gaming, let me know. I'm director of esports at Morris College.
Oh,
Ty, we may have to have you on.
Shout out to you, Ty, for sure.
We may have to have you on.
We'll be tapping into that expertise, even to see what that's all about, because that's something that we hear about, but we don't know exactly what it is.
There's a reason I'm saying your name and reading the text, because we may be
esports can respond.
We may be coming to you for help with esports. That might be something. 803-404-6100. So I don't know how you feel about either of those.
I don't even know what the first person said. He started talking languages. That's like how I feel when I go to my mechanic.
I do get the quieter part where you'd put the disc in and it'd speed up and it'd start spinning real quick to read everything. Did you never catch that? Were you always so excited to put the game in?
Yeah. Okay.
All
Cool.
right.
Save it to the cloud.
All right. The president of Darlington Raceway, Josh Harris, joins us next. We'll look at our Corley Pool Solutions Checkered Flag Challenge standings. You're listening to the early game. Did they have you read like 4 QC Kinetics yesterday?
I did a bunch, probably. I did a bunch, yeah.
So what they did is move anything you had for today yesterday. Because I was like, I know that QC you should have.
Yeah, I did do a bunch.
Bill Gunner for the Mortgage Guru. Jacob Crowder with First Palmetto Bank. I know for a fact that Jacob is the guru. Why? Because he helped me. Just a couple years ago, he helped find me a great interest rate, a great plan. He got all the paperwork done. It was nice and smooth, and he can do the exact same for you. And with First Palmetto Bank, they are locally owned and operated right here in the Midlands. And what does that mean? Well, it means they have local decision makers for quick and precise underwriting. And so if you're thinking about making a move as we roll through the month of June, if you're thinking about buying, if you're thinking about building, if you're thinking about refinancing, now is the time to see what options are available to you. So call the Mortgage Guru today, 803-719-1005. Again, that's 803-719-1005. Give the Mortgage Guru, Jacob Crowder, a call today. Tell him Bill Gunner sent you. 8:32, your 107.5 The Game time here as we roll along this morning. Highway 16 and Medical Park Road is somewhere you should probably avoid right now. Got an incident there and got a major issue over on Harbison Boulevard at Park Terrace. There was some injuries involved. So if you're in the Irmo area over by Harbison Boulevard near Park Terrace, you need to avoid that area. Those are the only two incidents at this point in time, but they are important to know. Highway 16 at Medical Park Road, and again, Harbison Boulevard at Park Terrace. High today is 92 degrees. High coming into the weekend will be in the mid-90s. Be careful out there. You're listening to the early game. .33 as we get you going here this morning, get you off and running into a warm day, as I just mentioned, and we are doing our countdowns. 72 days until Saturday, August the 31st, South Carolina Old Dominion, and that means 73 days away from the Southern 500. And joining us now, as he does each and every week, Darlington Raceway President Josh Harris. How you doing, young man? How is your summer going so far?
Bill, it's going pretty good. Just trying to stay cool where we can since it's heating up. But I guess here on the first day of summer, we're ready to go. Like you said, 73 days away from the Cookout Southern 500. It's going to be here before we know it.
Take me behind the scenes real quick. What is it like as you're going through all this? And I don't know if you're learning every day or how it is in your first year doing this, but how is it different prepping and getting everything ready for the Southern 500 as opposed to the Cookout race back in May when we were there and hanging out with you just a little over a month ago?
I wouldn't say the preparation differs too much. The biggest difference from the weekend schedule standpoint is, we have the Truck Series during Throwback Weekend, and then when we get to Labor Day, it's just the Xfinity and Cup Series. So one less day of on track, so that really gives our team an opportunity to see what we can do to plan other events off the track around there. We'll have, some community events and things like that going on around the track. So aside from that, the preparation doesn't change too much. I mean, I think the biggest thing for us is we've had 3 consecutive sellouts for the Cookout Southern 500, and that's what we're all working hard on right now, is making sure whether we're planning fan experience or we're in ticket sales or group sales, everyone's pushing towards getting that sellout again. Yeah,
I know that's important for you. Is there anything that this year, and we got plenty of time this morning right now before we get to our checkered flag challenge, but that you have done that's tried to put your imprint, your personal imprint on either of the races, or have you been like, hey, man, this thing is a well-oiled machine, I'm just going to let it run?
Yeah, it is a well-oiled machine, and I don't, I think I've said this a number of times in different, settings. Like, I inherited a very, very good team, and our place was in great shape. So there's not a lot to come in and immediately need to put my touch on, so to speak. I think this year really, for me, as much as anything, is learning, observing, contributing to our team, setting them up for success. And, as we go along throughout the year, there's things that I'm thinking about, okay, maybe in future years, or if we had the opportunity to make some improvements, capital and otherwise, here are some of the things that I've started to formulate as ideas. So that's really where it's at. It's more of a longer approach to maybe areas where you could say I'd put my finger on it, so to speak. But really, again, it's a great team that we have here. They work hard, and I was fortunate to step into a really good situation.
We didn't really get a chance to talk with you about it last weekend, but Martin Truex Jr. Scheduling for retirement. Your thoughts on that after 19 years in the Cup Series? I'm not Jen. I'm not going to pretend to be this NASCAR. Jen's the guru. You're the guru. But it did feel like this came out of nowhere and was a surprise.
Well, I think for those that follow the sport closely, Martin the last couple of years has kind of, I wouldn't say he has flirted with retirement, but there has been discussion among the media and otherwise, kind of wondering, he's at that age where a number of drivers in the last 5 to 10 years have stepped away, and you knew he had accomplished a lot of things with wins and championships. So it has been a topic pretty much around this time the last 2 years, and he's come out eventually each time and said, nope, I'm coming back again next year. And that talk started to pick up again, and ultimately he made that decision. So 19 full-time seasons. Yeah, again, he's at that age where a number of drivers in the last 10 plus years have decided to step away, and guys aren't racing until their late 40s, early mid 50s the way they did maybe 20, 30 years ago and before. They're also getting started a lot earlier, as evidenced in the Cup Series now with so many young drivers. So, a 20-year career. And 20 plus years when you count his time in Xfinity trucks, all the lower series that he raced in. So, he's had a good long career, very successful, 34 Cup Series wins, a championship, 2 Xfinity Series championships. I mean, to me, he's surely a Hall of Famer. And I think the key thing that he said was, he's stepping away from full-time driving. I don't know that the itch to race ever again has gone away. I think he wants to just enjoy maybe some more time away from the track and be able to step in a car, on a rare occasion.
Looking back at last week, Ryan Blaney winning the inaugural Cup race at Iowa Speedway. From what you've heard, from what you kind of observed, what was your takeaway from that? From number one, Ryan Blaney winning, but how that race went down at a first-time track? Yeah,
Ryan led a lot of laps, and certainly, over the last month or so, he's been running really well. He was so close there at Gateway at Worldwide Technology Park a couple of weeks ago and ran out of fuel there at the end. So he's been putting himself in position. Not surprised to see him get that first win of the year. And I think it's really good for us as a sport with our defending champion to go ahead and lock himself into the playoffs, get a win, and he'll be in a position to defend his title come those last 10 races. Overall, I thought Iowa was a good race. It's another short track where Goodyear, NASCAR, and the teams have been working hard on that package to make sure the racing is competitive, and even with a modified repave where they didn't repave the whole track, but they repaved portions of the turns. I thought it did well. They got 20 or almost an hour of practice on Friday, got to adjust their cars, air pressures, things like that, and the tires lasted for the most part during the race. So overall, I thought it was a really good. The fans certainly showed up in Iowa for first-time Cup event, and I think that's a market that shows that they're certainly deserving of a Cup race, and we'll see how that shakes out when next year's schedule comes out.
And, of course, that leads us into our Corley Pool Solutions Checkered Flag Challenge, where we head to New Hampshire real quick. We're gonna pick your brain. I don't want your pick just yet. Preston's got to pick first. Preston's behind everybody. He's 1 point behind you. But what are you looking for with New Hampshire this weekend? Give us, without making your pick just yet, what are you looking for?
Well, Bill, it's a mile track, but it races more like a short track. So it's a little bit longer than the track at Iowa. But it's more of a flat track. So I'm looking at who are some of the drivers, some of the teams that have done well, maybe at Martinsville earlier this year, or even Phoenix, or last week, or Gateway a couple of weeks ago. So there's also an interesting statistic that someone shared with me earlier in the week that Chevrolet has not won at New Hampshire since 2016, and Hendrick Motorsports has not won there since 2012. So it seems like a race that more of a Toyota and Ford have been successful, at least taking victories and checkered flags in the last 7 or 8 years.
There you go. Look, great analysis.
Good analysis.
Gives Preston something to pick off of, because Preston sits dead last right now with 50 points. You are second to dead last at 51. Jen's Jen's third to dead last at 56. I'm second place, and Reggie is leading the way, 3 points ahead of me. You are Preston. Where are we going?
We're going to play a little defense here. Since I've previewed all the picks, I'm taking Reggie's first pick, which he thought. I'm going to draft off of him because I have some insider information here, and I'm going to go with Christopher Bell.
That is
taking that, stealing that from Reggie right now.
Listen, look, you see how this goes, Josh. Preston.
Hey.
Yeah, you get first year guys, second year guys. Preston in his sophomore year, he's figured it out. He's stealing picks now.
A little defense.
He was gifted the picks, and then that leads us to you. What direction are you going?
Well, I say that's just good strategy right there, Preston.
Thanks, sir.
You know, sometimes you're at the back of the pack. You got to catch up. You use whatever advantages you got. You know, I went with your guy last week, Bill, Denny Hamlin, and he really, really disappointed me. So, put me almost in last place for the week. But I'm gonna stay with Joe Gibbs, but I'm gonna go with the guy that won last year, led a lot of laps the previous year, and just announced his retirement. Give me Martin Truex Jr.
He is actually the betting favorite from most books. Not all books. Most books have him as the betting favorite. So we've got Christopher Bell and Martin Truex Jr. off the board. That leads us to Jen. Where's Jen going?
Jen's going to go with Chase Elliott.
Elliott, that's an awful pick. That's an awful pick. That's not what you want at all. Give me my guy. I'm going with my guy. My guy. I was afraid you were about to take him. This is a week for Denny Hamlin. You're right. Denny Hamlin doesn't race bad twice in a row. This is a week for him. Where does that leave us with Reggie?
Joey Logano.
That is actually he is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He is 6th on the betting chart there. So Joey Logano for that pick. Mr. Harris, we always appreciate your time. Hope you're staying cool down there and enjoying these South Carolina summers.
Thanks, Bill. Thanks, Preston. You guys have a good weekend, and we'll talk next week.
Appreciate
Look forward
it, man.
to it, buddy. Take care. Take care. Josh Harris, Darlington Raceway president, always joining us on Thursday, the Corley Pool Solutions Checkered Flag Challenge. We'll come back. We'll wrap it all up. We'll put it in a nice little Thursday bow for you and turn you loose. It's the early game. Bill Gunner for Mid-State Roofing for nearly 30 years. Larry Leitner and the Mid-State Roofing family, well, they've been the industry leader in the roofing and waterproofing industry. They've been making sure that when these summer thunderstorms roll up, your roof is ready to handle it. And they'll continue to do it 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Doesn't matter when you give them a phone call. You'll speak with an on-call technician or a Mid-State Roofing employee who will help with you with a maintenance contract. So call Mid-State Roofing today, 803-356-1919. Let's be honest, you are not thinking about your roof right now. There's a lot of things going on, and of all the things that are going on, you aren't thinking about your roof. But Larry Leitner and the Mid-State Roofing family, they are, and they're ready to help you. Again, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week with a maintenance contract. Make sure that your operation stays dry and running long into the future. So if you've got a leak, let Mid-State Roofing take a peek.
Welcome back into the early game. Yes, that is still DRE, Dr. Dre, who was a part of what I am dubbing the greatest hip-hop concert of all time on streaming platforms, which is how we do statistics. Kendrick Lamar and friends came out there, had the victory lap. Shout out to Nipsey Hussle. Shout out to Kobe Bryant. Kendrick Lamar in Inglewood and the Forum on Juneteenth. Absolutely perfect. If you was to think same thing like Hootie being at the CLA, very similar vibes there. The hometown kid comes back, brings all his friends, does a victory lap on the Amazon Prime last night.
Reminder, we'll be out at Liberty on the Lake tomorrow for the Lake Murray Power Boat Run. But what do we have to look forward to as a what are we following up with? Are we going to do the Steely? Are you on an album tomorrow? Or we got something else?
No. I think we might do an album. I have to look at the dates to see how it lines up. I had the Steely Dan, but there's a whole thing we're doing with Steely Dan, so we might bring that back on.
And I feel like that's also a Jen thing.
Yeah. We need Jen to be here for Steely Dan.
Might have to circle
We'll
back
circle
to that.
back on that one.
So, yeah, we'll be out there again at Liberty on the Lake. Liberty on the Lake will not be open tomorrow, or tomorrow morning, I should say, when we're there. They're not open from 6 to 9. They will be open later in the day if you want to go there. But we will be out for the Lake Murray Power Boat Run. Should be a lot of fun. Brett Lasso does an incredible job putting it on. Those are some incredible, absolutely phenomenal machines. It is the Dam Boat Run at Lake Murray. Second event. We were out there last year. We took a ride on the boat with Brett.
Ooh,
went fast.
Very.
It's going to be a lot of fun. Proceeds go to the Big Red Barn Retreat and the Richland County Sheriff's Department. Mr. Sheriff Leon Lott will be joining us. We'll have also the Camp Discovery. Mary Beth, who's been with us, will join us. It should be a lot of fun tomorrow. It should be a lot of fun, and we look forward to being out there 6 to 9 a.m. And you're more than welcome to stop by. We'll be on the top deck hanging out and taking in everything. 803-404-6100. It is summertime. Summertime gets slow.
Yes.
Summertime slows up. Baseball in particular. There's a lot of baseball games, Preston Thorne.
Yeah. They're playing them.
We hit the Minnesota, was it the Twins summer sausage earlier?
Yes.
Have you seen the latest Major League Baseball craze? One team, they were awful, spent a lot of money. One team spent a lot of money. And we've had a new craze take place. They lost last night. And it broke the streak. But had you seen the latest? We are in baseball. This is what happens in baseball season, right?
Are you talking about the New York Mets?
Yes, I am.
Are you talking about them doing a rendition of a specific song?
Oh, I didn't know they were doing a song.
Okay. What do you?
It might be the song. I just know that Grimace.
Oh.
The Grimace, whatever Grimace is supposed to be. Whatever Grimace is, by the way, having a resurgence because I think they did something. McDonald's actually did some Grimace stuff earlier this year.
Yeah, remember last year they did the Grimace Shake.
Last year, yes.
They did the Grimace Shake, but it got out of control. The internet got a hold of it, and the kids were doing very.
It went out of
It got out of control. The internet took hold of it, and it didn't work out quite the way McDonald's wanted to. So, okay, Grimace is part of the Mets now.
If you haven't seen it, I think it was just in rare. There was a picture of Grimace wearing a Mets hat. I don't know how it actually all started, but the Mets changed their Twitter/X icon to a picture of Grimace wearing the Mets hat. They won 7 straight. They won, and now, like I said, Grimace is just the McDonald's Twitter account. Excuse me, not the Mets. The McDonald's Twitter account had changed its profile to a picture of Grimace wearing. I said the Mets hat. I meant McDonald's.
Okay, so the Mets have a lot going on because I thought you were referring to the Mets having a mariachi band doing their rendition of "Higher" by Creed.
I had not catch that. I've not caught that. The Mets were a mess for a little bit this season.
They're terrible.
They have kind of worked their way back in to contention, at least with the Braves falling off. The Mets now 35-38. But yes, this is prime. Boy, we're in June baseball season.
Yeah, we're gonna have to bring up that clip of that mariachi band doing their rendition of "Higher" by Creed, which is a Mad Lib of a sentence. But yeah, fascinating.
There's been some really good stuff. Jokingly, if you're listening, don't take serious what I'm about to say, but joke about. You're familiar with Angels in the outfield?
Yes.
Well, there's been rumors Paramount's working on Grimace in the outfield for the Mets.
Oh, no, that's false. There's no way.
No, that's what I'm saying. But if you haven't followed this on Twitter/X, this is turned into exactly what you talked about, where we're prime summertime right now. We're a month away now less than a month away from SEC Media Day. Matter of fact, what is the countdown to college football on July 16th? July 16th is
27 days.
So 26 days until SEC Media Day that Monday. So we're counting down until that. But welcome to where we're at. Grimace and the Mets. If you haven't seen it on Twitter X, check it. It's worth a sneak peek.
I'm going to go check it out. Like I said, the mariachi band playing Higher by Creed is
I'll have to check that out.
worth about 10 seconds of your stroll on the timeline.
We will be out at the dam boat run, the Lake Murray Power Boat Run tomorrow, Liberty on the Lake. We'll hope to catch you there.